Arizona is known for its breathtaking deserts, towering canyons, and charming small towns. But beneath the sun-drenched landscape lies a darker side. The state's motels, once vibrant with travelers and stories of the open road, now serve as chilling reminders of the past. Many of these establishments have gained notoriety for paranormal encounters, where restless spirits and unexplained phenomena continue to intrigue and terrify. In this article, we explore 25 haunted motels in Arizona, where ghost stories are more than just tales. They are documented experiences shared by staff, guests, and paranormal investigators. Each location tells its own story of mystery, tragedy, and lingering spirits, making them essential destinations for thrill-seekers and believers in the supernatural. The Wigwam Motel in Holbrook, Arizona, stands as one of the most iconic stops along the historic Route 66. Its unique, teepee-shaped rooms have drawn travelers from across the country for decades, offering a quirky yet memorable lodging experience. However, beyond its architectural charm, the motel has earned a reputation for something far more mysterious: ghostly activity that has puzzled visitors and paranormal investigators alike. The stories surrounding the Wigwam Motel suggest that the spirits of past travelers may linger, their presence felt long after checkout time. Guests who stay at the Wigwam often speak of a strange feeling upon entering the grounds, as if the property itself holds an unseen energy. Some describe it as a sudden chill, while others sense an invisible presence just out of the corner of their eye. It begins subtly, with fleeting glimpses of shadows moving across the teepee walls, or the feeling of being watched. Many visitors dismiss these experiences as imagination or tiredness from long drives along Route 66. But the consistency and frequency of reports indicate something more unusual. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the sound of footsteps echoing through the rooms late at night. Guests have described waking to the unmistakable noise of someone pacing, even though they are alone in their teepee. In some cases, the footsteps seem to follow them down the hall, stopping abruptly when they reach the door. Others have shared encounters with doors opening and closing by themselves, accompanied by a faint whisper that fades as soon as they try to listen more closely. The sounds are often described as being just realistic enough to create a sense of urgency or fear, yet without a visible source. Shadowy figures have also been reported moving throughout the property. Guests sometimes catch glimpses of these dark shapes flitting across the periphery of their vision, only to vanish when fully looked at. Descriptions vary from the silhouette of a lone traveler wandering the grounds to multiple figures appearing in quick succession. Some have reported seeing these apparitions near the vintage cars and memorabilia displayed around the motel, suggesting that the spirits may be tied to the history and culture of the Route 66 era. Paranormal investigators have taken a particular interest in the Wigwam Motel due to the frequency and consistency of reported occurrences. Using a variety of equipment, they have documented unexplained phenomena, from sudden temperature drops to EVP recordings that capture faint, unintelligible voices. One investigator noted that thermal cameras often detect cold spots that seem to move throughout the teepees, as if a presence is actively interacting with the environment. Even the most skeptical visitors find it difficult to dismiss the evidence collected, particularly when multiple sources corroborate the experiences. Several theories have emerged to explain the haunting at the Wigwam Motel. One suggests that the spirits belong to travelers who died unexpectedly on the road or in nearby accidents. Route 66 was known for long, isolated stretches where accidents were common, and some speculate that these restless souls continue their journeys at the motel. Others believe the haunting is tied to the strong historical and emotional energy of the location. The Wigwam Motel has operated since the 1940s, hosting thousands of guests over the decades. The accumulation of emotions, joy, sorrow, fatigue, and excitement may have left an imprint on the site, giving rise to residual hauntings that replay in moments of stillness or quiet. Personal accounts from visitors add a chilling layer to the motel's reputation. One guest reported waking in the middle of the night to see a small figure standing at the foot of the bed, its features indistinct but unmistakably human. The figure vanished as soon as they attempted to speak, leaving behind only a sudden drop in temperature. Another recounted entering the bathroom only to see a shadow move across the mirror, although no one else was present. Stories like these are common, and they contribute to the eerie allure of the motel, drawing curious travelers who hope to experience the supernatural firsthand. Despite the eerie occurrences, the Wigwam Motel remains a beloved and thriving attraction. Its combination of vintage, Americana charm, and paranormal intrigue has made it a must-visit destination for Route 66 enthusiasts and ghost hunters alike. Guests often report a sense of excitement mingled with unease, knowing that while they sleep in these quaint teepees, the spirits of the past may be sharing the space. The atmosphere at night can be particularly intense, with the stillness amplifying the faintest creaks, whispers, or footsteps. Some visitors embrace the experience, treating it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to encounter the unknown, while others retreat indoors, hoping the ghosts remain content with simply observing. Local staff at the Wigwam Motel have become accustomed to hearing guest reports of supernatural activity, and many are careful to respect the stories without attempting to rationalize them away. They know that part of the motel's charm lies in its mystique, and the legends of ghostly travelers have only enhanced its cultural significance. Tourists now flock, not just for the nostalgia of a Route 66 roadside attraction, but also for the thrill of possibly witnessing a brush with the paranormal. The haunting of the Wigwam Motel is subtle, yet pervasive, manifesting in whispers, fleeting shadows, and unexplained movements that leave a lingering sense of unease. While some may write these experiences off as the product of imagination or exhaustion from long road trips, the volume and consistency of accounts suggest that something unusual is happening at this historic motel. Whether it is the spirits of travelers who never completed their journey, or the lingering energy of decades of human emotion, the presence felt at the Wigwam Motel is undeniable. For those willing to venture along Route 66, the Wigwam Motel offers more than just a unique place to sleep. It provides an encounter with history, culture, and perhaps something beyond the ordinary, a chance to glimpse the echoes of the past in the present. Visitors leave with stories of ghostly sightings, cold drafts, and footsteps that seem to follow them, carrying the legend of the Wigwam Motel forward to the next generation of travelers. Each night, as the neon lights glow softly against the desert darkness, the teepees stand ready to welcome guests, human or otherwise, continuing a tradition of hospitality that transcends the ordinary world and touches the unexplained. This combination of quirky charm, historical significance, and paranormal intrigue ensures that the Wigwam Motel remains a beloved Route 66 landmark. It is a place where the past is never truly gone, and where the thin veil between the living and the spirits of the road seems to shimmer in the desert night. Whether one comes for the novelty of a teepee stay or the thrill of a ghostly encounter, the Wigwam Motel promises a memorable experience that lingers long after departure. The Route 66 Motel in Kingman, Arizona, is more than just a convenient stop along the historic Mother Road. Established decades ago, this roadside lodging has witnessed countless travelers, families, and adventurers pass through its doors. And with that long history comes a complex tapestry of stories, some of them deeply unsettling. Over the years, guests have reported unusual occurrences that cannot easily be explained, from the eerie sound of laughter echoing through empty rooms to objects moving on their own. These phenomena have earned the motel a reputation as one of the more haunted locations along the legendary Route 66. Many visitors first sense something unusual as soon as they enter the motel. The air seems heavier, the lighting dimmer, and a subtle feeling of being observed can settle over guests in ways that are difficult to describe. Some attribute it to the age of the building or the desert heat playing tricks on their senses. Yet the experiences reported are often too consistent and specific to dismiss. It is not uncommon for guests to hear faint laughter in hallways when no one else is around, the sound rising and fading as if coming from multiple sources simultaneously. The laughter is typically described as haunting and childlike, carrying a sense of both mischief and melancholy. One of the most frequently recounted phenomena involves objects moving without explanation. Guests have found chairs slightly out of place, doors left ajar despite being closed, and personal items mysteriously shifted from their original positions. Some have reported more dramatic events, such as picture frames tilting at impossible angles, or a vase falling from a shelf with no one nearby. These movements often seem deliberate, as though an unseen presence is interacting with the living environment, paying attention to the comings and goings of those staying in the motel. Among the various ghost stories tied to the Route 66 motel, the recurring account of a spectral woman near Room 6 is the most well-known. Witnesses describe seeing her standing quietly near the window, gazing out into the night with an expression of profound sadness. Her clothing appears outdated, reminiscent of mid-20th century fashion, and her form often seems semi-transparent, fading when looked at directly. Guests who have encountered her report a heavy emotional weight in the room, a palpable sense of loss or longing that makes the atmosphere almost suffocating. Some have even attempted to speak to her, only to feel a chill sweep through the room, signaling her presence without offering any form of response. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the Route 66 motel for decades, intrigued by the consistency of the reports. Using thermal cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recorders, they have documented phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Sudden drops in temperature often coincide with the sighting of the spectral woman, and electronic devices sometimes behave erratically near Room 6. EVP electronic voice phenomenon. Recordings frequently capture whispers and laughter that cannot be attributed to any living person. While skeptics argue that old buildings, drafts, and the mind's tendency to create patterns in ambiguous stimuli could explain these occurrences, the volume and consistency of independent reports suggest that there is more at play. Local legend surrounding the Route 66 motel offers several theories as to the origins of the hauntings. Some believe that the motel has been the site of multiple tragedies over the years, including accidents, sudden illnesses, and untimely deaths, which may have left lingering energies behind. The spectral woman, in particular, is often thought to be connected to a story of lost love or personal tragedy, eternally replaying a moment of sorrow from her life. Others speculate that the building itself, having witnessed decades of human emotion, has absorbed echoes of past events, creating residual hauntings that replay at unpredictable times. The experiences of guests add depth and color to these stories. One visitor reported waking in the middle of the night to the faint sound of laughter in the hallway, only to see no one there when stepping outside their room. Another recounted entering Room 6 and feeling an immediate, chilling presence, accompanied by a soft gust of cold air and the sensation that someone was standing close behind them. In yet another account, a guest described watching a chair slide across the floor by itself, as though an invisible figure had shifted it, leaving behind a sense of observation and quiet amusement. These personal encounters, while often frightening, contribute to the allure and enduring mystique of the motel. Despite the unsettling activity, the Route 66 motel remains a functional and beloved destination. Travelers are drawn both by its historic charm and the thrill of possibly encountering something otherworldly. Many embrace the experiences as part of the adventure of staying in a location with such a rich and layered history. Nighttime, in particular, brings the stories to life. The quiet desert outside, the dim glow of the neon sign, and the creaking of the old wooden floors all serve to amplify the supernatural energy that has been reported repeatedly over the decades. Staff at the motel are accustomed to hearing guest stories of hauntings, and often treat them with respect rather than dismissal. Many acknowledge that strange occurrences happen more frequently in the older sections of the building, particularly near Room 6, and some staff members have even had personal experiences such as hearing unexplained sounds or sensing a presence when cleaning rooms late at night. These first-hand accounts add credibility to the legend and reinforce the motel's identity as a destination where the living and the spirit world coexist in subtle, sometimes startling ways. The combination of laughter in empty rooms, moving objects, and the spectral woman near room 6 creates a haunting atmosphere that lingers in the memories of visitors long after they leave. Whether these experiences are the result of restless spirits, residual energy, or psychological suggestion, they form an undeniable part of the Route 66 motel's identity. Guests often leave with stories to share, not only about the history and charm of the motel, but also about the eerie, unexplained experiences that make it a truly unique stop along America's legendary highway. For those traveling along Route 66, the motel offers more than just a place to rest. It provides an opportunity to step into a living history, where the past seems to brush against the present and the thin veil between the ordinary and the supernatural feels just slightly lifted. Each night, as the desert wind moves across the parking lot and the neon sign flickers in the darkness, the Route 66 motel stands as a silent witness to decades of travelers, their stories, and perhaps the lingering spirits that continue to walk its halls. The Downtown Motel in Flagstaff, Arizona, is a seemingly ordinary lodging option along the historic travel routes of northern Arizona, but over the years, it has gained a reputation for something far more unsettling than its convenient location or affordable rates. Guests from all walks of life have reported strange experiences that defy simple explanation, from doors that slam without warning to whispers that seem to come from nowhere. The motel has become a hotspot for paranormal activity, attracting both the curious traveler and dedicated ghost hunter. Visitors often describe an eerie atmosphere that becomes noticeable the moment they enter the motel. Some say it's a sudden drop in temperature that makes the air feel heavier, while others mention an unsettling feeling of being watched. The hallways, often quiet late at night, seem to hum with an unseen presence. It begins subtly. A faint whisper, the creak of a floorboard, or the feeling of eyes following them from the shadows. Guests report that these sensations can escalate quickly, creating a sense of tension that is hard to shake. One of the most commonly reported occurrences at the Downtown Motel is the sudden and unexplained slamming of doors. Guests recount entering their rooms only to hear doors bang shut behind them without any wind or physical cause. Some have even described doors opening and closing repeatedly in empty hallways, as if unseen hands are moving them. In some instances, the door sounds are accompanied by faint murmurs or whispering voices that seem to come from the walls themselves. People often freeze, unsure whether to investigate or retreat, only to find no one present when they look. Cold spots are another hallmark of the motel's strange activity. Walk down certain hallways, and guests report an abrupt drop in temperature, sometimes so intense that their breath becomes visible. These chills often coincide with the sighting of shadowy figures or the sensation of being touched by an unseen hand. The cold is not consistent or explained by drafts. It appears and disappears at random, amplifying the eerie ambience of the motel at night. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Downtown Motel have used thermal cameras to document these phenomena, finding areas that register unusually low temperatures with no logical source. Perhaps the most unsettling reports involve sightings of a man in old-fashioned clothing. Guests describe seeing him standing silently near windows, staring out at the darkened street or the parking lot. His attire suggests an era long past, often interpreted as clothing from the early or mid-20th century. What makes these encounters particularly chilling is that when witnesses approach or attempt to get a closer look, the figure vanishes as if he were never there. Some visitors report feeling a deep sadness or sense of longing in the room during these sightings, as though the apparition carries a message or unfinished business from the past. Paranormal enthusiasts have flocked to the Downtown Motel to investigate these claims. Using voice recorders, EMF detectors, and night vision cameras, they have captured evidence that defies easy explanation. EVP recordings frequently reveal faint, disembodied whispers, often too quiet to understand but undeniably human in tone. Some investigators have reported seeing objects move on their own or experiencing sudden drops in temperature that match guest accounts, while skeptics attribute these occurrences to old building quirks, drafts, or overactive imaginations. The consistency and detail of reports from multiple, unrelated witnesses suggests something more. Local lore offers a variety of theories to explain the activity at the downtowner motel. Some believe the site was once home to tragic events that left emotional imprints, a concept often referred to as a residual haunting. Others speculate that the figure in old-fashioned clothing may be a spirit tied to the property, perhaps someone who frequented the area decades ago and has remained bound to the motel. Whatever the cause, the stories persist, adding layers of intrigue and mystery to an otherwise ordinary lodging experience. Guests often report that the eerie activity is concentrated in certain areas of the motel, particularly older sections of the building. Long, dimly lit hallways seem to amplify the sounds of footsteps, doors, and whispers, while rooms near the front windows are where the old-fashioned man is most frequently seen. The repetition of these patterns has led some paranormal investigators to believe that the spirits are attached to specific locations within the motel, perhaps reliving moments from their past lives. Despite the unsettling reports, the downtowner motel remains operational and continues to welcome travelers from across the country. Many visitors come specifically to experience the paranormal activity firsthand, armed with cameras, recorders, and a healthy sense of curiosity. Some find the experience thrilling, even exhilarating, while others leave shaken, convinced that they have encountered something beyond the natural world. For frequent guests, the combination of typical motel amenities with an undercurrent of unexplained phenomena creates a unique and unforgettable experience. Staff at the motel have grown accustomed to hearing guest stories about ghostly sightings and strange events. While some are skeptical, many respect the accounts and refrain from dismissing them outright. They recognize that the downtowner motel's reputation for paranormal activity has become an integral part of its identity, drawing a niche of tourists who are interested in more than just a place to sleep. For some employees, personal experiences on the job have confirmed the reports, such as hearing footsteps in empty corridors or seeing shadows move in the corner of their vision. The combination of doors that slam, whispers in empty hallways, cold spots, and the mysterious man in period clothing has solidified the downtowner motel as a location of fascination for those intrigued by the supernatural. Each account contributes to the ongoing legend, creating an atmosphere that blends everyday travel with the possibility of the unknown. Guests often report leaving the motel with stories to tell, memories that linger not because of the comfort of their stay, but because of the presence of something unseen yet undeniably real. In the end, the downtowner motel offers more than lodging. It provides an encounter with the unexplained. Travelers who pass through its doors may find themselves witnesses to moments that bridge the present with echoes of the past. Whether one believes in spirits or sees them as figments of imagination, the consistency of the reports and the chilling nature of the experiences have cemented the motel's place in Flagstaff's paranormal lore. For those willing to explore, the downtowner motel promises a stay that is far from ordinary, where the sounds of slamming doors, ghostly whispers, and fleeting shadows create an unforgettable journey into the unknown. The Shalimar Motel in Tucson, Arizona, has long been a familiar stop for travelers seeking affordable lodging in the heart of the city. Its unassuming exterior and mid-century design make it appear like any other roadside motel. But behind its doors lies a history and atmosphere that many find unsettling. Over the years, guests have reported a range of unexplained phenomena, from furniture moving on its own to light fixtures swinging without any apparent cause. These reports have drawn the attention of paranormal enthusiasts, who believe that the motel is a hotspot for ghostly activity and lingering spirits. Guests at the Shalimar often notice that something feels slightly off upon entering the motel, even during the daytime. A quiet tension seems to hang in the air, subtle but undeniable. Many describe a feeling of being watched, or an inexplicable heaviness that follows them through the hallways. This sensation often becomes more pronounced at night, when the motel quiets down and the hum of traffic fades away. It is during these late hours that the most reported phenomena occur. leaving visitors with lingering memories of encounters they cannot explain. One of the most common reports involves furniture moving without explanation. Chairs are found slightly out of place, tables shifted across rooms, and personal items subtly relocated. Some guests have recounted witnessing these movements in real time, seeing objects slide or tilt as if guided by an invisible hand. The motions are never violent or destructive, but deliberate enough to provoke unease. This activity often seems concentrated in certain areas, particularly older rooms and common spaces, suggesting that the energy, whatever its source, is attached to specific locations within the motel. Another frequently reported occurrence involves the swinging of light fixtures. Guests have described watching ceiling fans or hanging lamps sway gently despite the absence of drafts or movement from the HVAC system. In some cases, the motion intensifies as though responding to the presence of someone unseen, only to stop abruptly when observed closely. These phenomena are often accompanied by sudden drops in temperature, creating a tangible sensation of cold that seems to deepen the feeling that something paranormal is at work. Paranormal investigators have long been intrigued by the Shalimar Motel, conducting numerous investigations over the years. Using cameras, motion detectors, and EMF meters, they have documented activity that defies easy explanation. Photographs taken in the lobby and common areas sometimes show unexplained orbs of light, while night vision cameras capture fleeting shadow figures moving across hallways or through rooms. EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Recordings occasionally reveal faint whispers and murmurs that cannot be attributed to any known source. These findings have bolstered the motel's reputation as a site of paranormal activity, drawing curious visitors hoping to witness the inexplicable firsthand. Many visitors have also reported encounters with shadow figures. These dark silhouettes often appear in the peripheral vision, vanishing when observed directly. Guests describe the figures as human-like in shape but lacking distinct features, moving silently and deliberately across hallways or behind doors. Sometimes, these shadows seem to linger, creating the sensation of being followed or observed. Combined with the moving furniture and swinging lights, the presence of shadow figures contributes to an atmosphere that is both unsettling and magnetic, attracting those with a fascination for the unknown. Local lore surrounding the Shalimar Motel includes stories of past tragedies and unexplained events that may have contributed to its haunted reputation. Some speculate that former employees or long-departed guests continue to linger, their energy imprinted on the building after years of repeated activity. Others suggest that the motel's mid-century architecture and long-standing presence in Tucson have allowed residual energy to accumulate over time, creating repeated patterns of unexplained phenomena. While definitive explanations remain elusive, the consistency of reports from guests and investigators alike supports the notion that the Shalimar Motel harbors more than just echoes of the past. Personal accounts from visitors add a chilling human element to these stories. One guest described waking in the middle of the night to find a chair sliding slowly across the room as if pushed by invisible fingers. Another recounted seeing a shadow glide past the doorway of the lobby while attempting to take a photograph, only to notice a faint orb of light captured in the frame. Others have spoken of sudden cold spots in hallways, accompanied by the faint scent of something floral or metallic, adding to the sensory strangeness of their stay. These experiences leave many guests with a mixture of fear, awe, and curiosity, making the motel as memorable for its supernatural reputation as for its accommodation. Despite these unsettling events, the Shalimar Motel continues to operate, hosting travelers from around the country. Many visitors are drawn to the motel specifically because of its haunted reputation, eager to experience the phenomena themselves. The combination of ordinary hospitality with extraordinary occurrences creates a unique and memorable stay, where guests can enjoy the amenities of a traditional motel, while remaining alert to the possibility of the unexplained. Staff members are well aware of the motel's reputation and treat guest reports with a mix of professionalism and understanding. While some remain skeptical of the paranormal claims, Many acknowledge that strange events do occur and prefer not to question or challenge visitors' experiences. Employees often report hearing unexplained noises, seeing shadows move, or noticing objects slightly displaced during the night shift. These experiences contribute to the overall mystique of the Shalimar Motel, reinforcing its status as a location where the line between the natural and supernatural feels especially thin. The Shalimar Motel's combination of moving furniture, swinging lights, cold spots, orbs, and shadow figures has solidified its place in Tucson's paranormal lore. Visitors leave with stories that linger long after they depart, tales of eerie sensations, unexplained movements, and fleeting apparitions that defy conventional explanation. For those traveling through Tucson, the Shalimar Motel offers more than just a place to sleep, provides an encounter with the unexplained, a chance to experience a building that seems alive with the echoes of its past and the presence of something unseen. Whether one approaches it with skepticism or belief, the Shalimar Motel continues to captivate and unsettle, offering an unforgettable experience where ordinary surroundings intersect with extraordinary phenomena. Each night, as the lights flicker and the hallways grow quiet, the motel stands, ready to host guests, human and perhaps not entirely human, in a space where the paranormal seems ever present and the past lingers just out of sight. The El Coronado Motel in Scottsdale, Arizona, is a striking example of mid-century modern design, with clean lines, retro charm, and a reputation for comfort that has drawn travelers for decades. Yet, beneath its stylish facade lies a history of unexplained events that has long intrigued both guests and paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors to the motel often report experiences that cannot easily be explained. From hearing voices in empty rooms to witnessing the fleeting presence of guests who had never officially checked in. These stories, repeated over years of occupancy, have cemented the El Coronado Motel's status as one of Scottsdale's most enigmatic lodging destinations. Guests often sense that something is unusual as soon as they step into the motel's hallways. The atmosphere can feel unexpectedly heavy or charged, as if the air itself is holding a secret. Some visitors report the faint strains of music drifting from distant rooms, often described as coming from a bygone era. The melodies evoke a sense of nostalgia, echoing the mid-century aesthetic of the property, yet the sources remain untraceable. Travelers frequently find themselves pausing in hallways, captivated by the eerie beauty of the music, only to realize that no instruments or performers are visible. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at the El Coronado Motel involves apparitions of guests who seem to exist only partially in our world. Staff have recounted seeing individuals walking through the halls carrying luggage or chatting quietly, only for these figures to vanish when approached. These encounters are particularly unsettling because the staff are certain that the guests in question were never checked in and do not appear in any official records. Witnesses describe the figures as dressed in vintage attire, their clothing suggesting decades past, and moving with a calm, deliberate grace. Some visitors have even seen these apparitions reflected in mirrors or windows, only to find the reflection empty when they look directly, unexplained. Conversations are another hallmark of the motel's paranormal activity. Staff and guests alike have reported hearing snippets of dialogue emanating from vacant rooms. The voices are usually faint, as though carried on a distant breeze, yet distinct enough to be recognizable as human speech. Guests often hear laughter, hushed tones, or even arguments, though no one is visibly present. In some cases, the conversations seem to pause when a listener enters the room, resuming only once they leave, reinforcing the sense of an unseen presence observing and interacting with the space. Music, particularly, plays a central role in the motel's mysterious ambience. Guests frequently describe hearing soft jazz or swing tunes drifting through the hallways, often accompanied by the faint clinking of glasses or the quiet murmur of a bygone social scene. These auditory experiences are typically reported during the evening or early night hours, when the motel is quiet and other noises are minimal. The music seems to originate from nowhere, moving between rooms or lingering in hallways, and it often evokes strong emotional responses in those who hear it. Some visitors have described feeling a bittersweet nostalgia, as if they are catching fleeting echoes of the motel's past, patrons enjoying life decades ago. Paranormal investigators have taken a particular interest in the El Coronado Motel, drawn by the consistency and specificity of the reports. Using a combination of EMF meters, thermal cameras, and audio recording equipment, they have documented evidence of activity that defies straightforward explanation. Night vision cameras have captured fleeting shadow figures moving across hallways, and EVP, electronic voice phenomenon recordings, have picked up faint voices and laughter in rooms known to be empty. Investigators suggest that the phenomena could be residual hauntings, manifestations of past events replaying in the motel, or intelligent spirits interacting with the living. Many theories attempt to explain the hauntings at the El Coronado Motel. Some propose that the spirits of former guests who spent time at the property decades ago, leaving behind traces of their presence in the form of residual energy. Others suggest that the building itself, with its mid-century architecture and long history, has absorbed emotional imprints from countless human interactions over the years. These imprints may be responsible for the auditory and visual phenomena reported by guests and staff alike. Regardless of the explanation, the frequency and similarity of the experiences suggest that the El Coronado Motel is more than just a backdrop for urban legend. It is a place where the past remains tangibly close. Guest accounts add a chilling layer of detail to these reports. One visitor described entering a room only to hear a faint conversation in the next room. Voices discussing mundane topics, such as daily routines or casual greetings, despite the room being vacant. Another recounted hearing music from the 1940s drifting down the hallway, accompanied by the sound of footsteps on the carpet outside their door. Yet no one was ever seen. Staff members have shared similar experiences, reporting sightings of guests who fade when approached or hearing doors close without cause. These interactions, while subtle, leave a lasting impression on those who witness them, creating stories that are retold and shared with each new wave of travelers. Despite the eerie reputation, the El Coronado Motel continues to operate as a welcoming destination for travelers, offering an experience that blends comfort with intrigue. Many guests are drawn to the motel, specifically because of its haunted reputation, eager to see or hear something unexplained firsthand. The combination of vintage charm, historical significance, and paranormal activity provides a stay that is unique and memorable, appealing to both casual visitors and dedicated enthusiasts of the unexplained. The El Coronado Motel's history of ghostly sightings, unexplained conversations, and mysterious music contributes to a sense of timelessness. The echoes of the past seem to permeate the halls, creating an atmosphere in which history and the present coexist in subtle, sometimes startling ways. Visitors often leave with stories that linger in their minds, tales of fading figures, distant laughter, and melodies that seem to have been pulled from another era. For those traveling through Scottsdale, the motel offers more than a place to rest. It provides a window into the unseen, a glimpse of lives and moments that continue to echo through time. The Ponderosa Motel in Prescott, Arizona, may appear at first glance to be a typical small-town lodging, with its modest exterior, well-worn signage, and welcoming neon glow. Yet beneath this ordinary facade lies a long history of unexplained phenomena that has captivated locals, travelers, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Over the years, guests have reported a variety of eerie experiences, from the feeling of cold hands brushing against their arms to witnessing full apparitions gliding silently through the hallways. Many speculate that these spirits are former residents or travelers who, for reasons unknown, never fully departed the motel. Visitors often sense something unusual as soon as they enter the motel. The hallways, normally quiet at night, seem to carry an energy that is palpable. Some describe it as a sudden chill, a heaviness in the air, or the subtle sensation that someone is following them from room to room. Even during daylight hours, the atmosphere can feel oddly tense, as if the motel itself is holding on to the echoes of its past. Guests often remark that they feel watched or accompanied, even when walking the empty corridors alone. One of the most common experiences reported at the Ponderosa Motel is the sensation of cold hands brushing against one's skin. The touch can trigger a shiver or sudden awareness, leaving visitors startled and unsure of what they experienced. In many cases, these occurrences are accompanied by a drop in temperature, as if an invisible presence is actively moving through the space. While some dismiss the sensation as a trick of the mind, the frequency and consistency of these reports suggest something more unusual is at play. Hallway apparitions are another hallmark of the motel's mysterious activity. Guests have reported seeing shadowy figures moving along the corridors, often dressed in clothing reminiscent of earlier decades. Some apparitions appear to be fully formed, with distinct features and clothing, while others manifest as fleeting silhouettes, disappearing when observed directly. These figures are generally described as calm and non-threatening, though their sudden appearance can startle unsuspecting guests. Witnesses often note that the apparitions seem to be going about ordinary routines, as if reliving moments from the past. Some of the most frequently reported phenomena occur in the older sections of the motel. Long hallways, dimly lit by aging light fixtures, seem to amplify the sense of presence. Guests walking to their rooms at night have described catching glimpses of figures out of the corner of their eye, only to find the hallway empty when they turn to look directly. Doors have been known to close on their own, and occasionally, objects are found slightly moved from where they were left. These subtle manifestations create an atmosphere that is both unsettling and compelling, drawing paranormal enthusiasts eager to capture evidence of the unexplained. Local lore surrounding the Ponderosa Motel provides some context for these phenomena. Many believe that the spirits are former residents or long-departed travelers who developed a strong connection to the property during their lifetimes. Over the decades, the motel has housed countless guests, each leaving a trace of their presence behind. Some speculate that these emotional imprints have solidified into lingering energy, creating residual hauntings that replay intermittently. Others suggest that the apparitions are more conscious entities, choosing to remain tethered to the motel rather than moving on. Personal accounts from guests add chilling depth to the motel's reputation. One visitor recounted entering a dimly lit hallway, only to feel a cold hand lightly brush against her arm, sending shivers down her spine. Turning quickly, she found no one present but noticed that a nearby door was slightly ajar, even though she was certain she had closed it. Another guest described seeing a figure walking slowly down the hall, its features indistinct, yet radiating a sense of sorrow or longing. As he watched, the figure faded into the shadows, leaving him questioning whether it had ever been real. Staff members at the Ponderosa Motel are well acquainted with the stories and have their own experiences to share. Some have heard footsteps in empty hallways, doors opening and closing on their own, or glimpsed figures moving past their peripheral vision. Many choose not to interfere, believing that the spirits, if indeed they exist, are simply remaining in the motel as they always have. This respect for the unknown has helped preserve the mystique of the Ponderosa, allowing visitors to encounter its unusual phenomena without disruption. Paranormal investigators have shown significant interest in the Ponderosa Motel, drawn by the consistency of reports and the variety of experiences described. Using cameras, thermal imaging equipment, and audio recorders, they have captured evidence suggestive of otherworldly activity. Some photographs have revealed faint shapes or shadows in hallways, while EVP's electronic voice phenomena have recorded soft whispers and indistinct sounds when rooms were otherwise empty. Although skeptics attribute some occurrences to the building's age or environmental factors, the breadth and similarity of eyewitness accounts make the Ponderosa Motel a compelling case for those studying the paranormal. The combination of physical sensations, visual apparitions, and environmental anomalies ensures that each stay at the Ponderosa Motel is memorable. Guests often leave with stories that linger, recounting the sensation of unseen hands, shadowy figures, or the quiet impression that the past has not yet let go. These experiences create a sense of connection to the motel's long history, intertwining personal narrative with collective memory. For visitors to Prescott, the Ponderosa Motel offers more than a place to sleep. It provides a glimpse into the unexplained. Hallways seem to echo with the footsteps of the past. Rooms hold traces of lives once lived, and the air carries a subtle reminder that some spirits may linger where they feel most at home. Whether guests arrive seeking a quiet night's rest or an encounter with the unknown, the Ponderosa Motel stands ready to offer an experience that is both ordinary and extraordinary. A place where the past and present coexist in haunting proximity. The Highway House Motel in Yuma, Arizona, is an unassuming roadside lodging that has welcomed travelers for decades. Its bright neon sign and classic desert architecture make it a familiar sight to those passing through the area. However, beneath its ordinary appearance, the Highway House has earned a reputation for strange and unsettling activity that occurs mostly at night. Guests and staff alike have reported unexplained phenomena, ranging from sudden power fluctuations to electronic devices behaving erratically. Most notable among these tales is the story of a spectral man who appears near the pool area, smiling at passersby before disappearing without a trace. Many visitors first notice something unusual as night falls. While the motel appears quiet and deserted, the atmosphere takes on a subtle tension. Guests often report that the air feels heavier or colder than expected, particularly around the pool and in certain hallways. Some describe the sensation of being watched, even when walking alone. Electrical disturbances are another frequent occurrence. Lights flicker or dim suddenly. Televisions turn on or off by themselves, and other devices behave unpredictably. These incidents are most commonly reported between midnight and the early hours of the morning, lending an eerie quality to what would otherwise be an ordinary stay. The most well-known story at the Highway House Motel involves a mysterious man who appears near the pool area. Witnesses describe him as middle-aged, dressed in casual attire, reminiscent of decades past. He is usually seen standing by the water's edge or sitting on a nearby lounge chair, smiling quietly, as if observing the world around him. When approached or looked at directly, the figure vanishes instantly, leaving no evidence that he was ever there. Guests who have encountered him often report a mix of curiosity and unease, feeling a strange warmth and friendliness in his presence, even as the sudden disappearance startles them. Power fluctuations at the motel have been reported with unusual consistency. Guests have described lights flickering on and off without warning, air conditioners shutting down mid-cycle, and clocks resetting themselves. Some even report hearing faint humming or buzzing sounds from electrical outlets, although the wiring shows no faults. These disturbances often coincide with other paranormal activity, such as the appearance of the smiling man or the sensation of unseen movement in the surrounding area. For some visitors, these electrical anomalies are the first sign that the Highway House Motel is not entirely ordinary. Electronic devices are particularly susceptible to the motel's unexplained energy. Cameras, cell phones, and laptops have been known to malfunction unexpectedly. Some guests have reported taking photographs only to find their images corrupted or displaying strange, unidentifiable shapes. Others recount devices turning on by themselves, screens flickering with distorted images, or radios picking up faint, unintelligible voices. These experiences are consistent across multiple reports and add a tangible, modern element to the motel's paranormal reputation. Staff at the Highway House Motel are no strangers to these unusual occurrences. They have witnessed lights flickering in empty rooms, televisions turning on without explanation, and doors opening and closing seemingly on their own. Some employees report hearing footsteps near the pool late at night, even when no one is present. The smiling man is often mentioned among staff as a frequent, though harmless, apparition. While these experiences can be unnerving, the staff have grown accustomed to them and typically treat them with a mix of caution and respect, understanding that the motel has long been a magnet for unexplained phenomena. Paranormal investigators have visited the Highway House Motel on numerous occasions to document its activity. Using EMF meters, thermal cameras, and audio recorders, they have captured evidence suggesting the presence of something unusual. Thermal imaging sometimes shows cold spots near the pool area and hallways, while audio recordings occasionally reveal faint, disembodied voices and soft laughter that cannot be explained by any human source. Shadowy figures have been detected, moving in peripheral vision on camera, and certain investigators report an unshakable feeling of being observed throughout their visits. While skeptics attribute these phenomena to faulty wiring or natural drafts, the consistency of experiences from guests and staff alike has made the motel a point of interest in the paranormal community. Some theories attempt to explain the origins of the smiling man. Local lore suggests he may have been a guest or employee who spent significant time at the motel decades ago and now lingers as a benevolent presence. Others propose that the energy is residual, a replay of moments from the past that has imprinted itself onto the motel's grounds. Regardless of the explanation, those who encounter him describe a sense of calm and curiosity, as though the figure exists to observe without harm, silently interacting with the living world while remaining out of reach. Visitors to the Highway House Motel often report that the combination of electrical disturbances, ghostly appearances, and the presence of the smiling man creates an atmosphere that is at once thrilling and unnerving. Guests recount nights filled with flickering lights, mysterious humming, and the occasional chill in the air, all punctuated by the inexplicable sight of a friendly figure standing by the pool. These experiences leave lasting impressions, making the motel not just a place to sleep, but a destination for those fascinated by the paranormal. Despite the eerie occurrences, the Highway House Motel remains a functional and welcoming establishment. Guests continue to come for its affordable rates, convenient location, and classic desert motel charm. Many, however, arrive with the added expectation of experiencing the unexplained firsthand. The mixture of ordinary comfort and extraordinary phenomena creates a unique stay where visitors are simultaneously intrigued, cautious, and excited to witness the mysteries for themselves. The Highway House Motel's combination of sudden power fluctuations, erratic electronics, and spectral sightings, particularly the smiling man near the pool, ensures its place in UMass local legends. For those traveling through the area, it offers more than lodging. It provides a glimpse into a space where the ordinary and the supernatural coexist. As night falls, lights flicker, devices act on their own, and the pool reflects more than just the moonlight, hinting at a presence that has lingered long after human footsteps have faded. The Cactus Jack Motel in Sedona, Arizona, sits perched against the backdrop of the region's iconic red rock formations, offering what appears to be a tranquil escape for travelers seeking natural beauty and small-town charm. By day, the motel's patios catch the warm glow of the sun, and the surrounding desert landscape inspires. Yet as night falls, the serenity gives way to reports of unsettling occurrences that have made the Cactus Jack Motel a subject of intrigue for guests, locals, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Visitors have reported hearing footsteps echoing through empty hallways, spotting shadowy figures lurking in corners, and sensing an invisible presence that seems to linger just out of reach. Guests often notice a shift in atmosphere immediately after sunset. Where the day is bright and warm, the hallways at night can feel oppressive and quiet in an unnerving way. Many describe a sensation of being watched, a subtle awareness that their movements are being tracked, even in rooms and corridors where they are alone. Footsteps are among the most frequently reported phenomena, sometimes soft and deliberate, other times quick and erratic, bouncing off walls and doors as though someone is pacing nearby. The sounds are often localized to the upper floors or older sections of the building, amplifying the eerie sensation that the motel itself is alive with unseen energy. Shadowy figures are another common occurrence at the Cactus Jack Motel. Guests often report catching glimpses of dark forms in their peripheral vision, positioned in hallways, doorways, or corners where light is scarce. These figures rarely move in a way that draws attention. They simply watch or linger silently before disappearing when observed directly. Some witnesses describe the figures as vaguely human-shaped, while others perceive them as amorphous shadows with no definable features. The encounters are brief but intense, leaving many visitors with a sense of unease that persists long after the sighting. Paranormal investigators have taken particular interest in the Cactus Jack Motel due to the consistency of reports over the years. During overnight investigations, sudden temperature drops are often documented, occurring in localized areas such as hallways, stairwells, and individual rooms. Thermal cameras frequently reveal cold spots that move without any apparent source, coinciding with areas where guests have reported footsteps or seen shadows. Investigators also utilize EMF meters and audio recorders, capturing unexplained electromagnetic spikes and faint, whispering voices that seem to echo through empty corridors. While skeptics argue that these events can be attributed to the age of the building or environmental factors, the sheer volume and repetition of reports make the motel a compelling case for paranormal study. One particularly eerie aspect of the Cactus Jack Motel is the way ordinary objects sometimes seem affected by the unseen presence. Doors that were closed firmly are found ajar, lights flicker without explanation, and items in guest rooms may be shifted slightly from their original placement. These disturbances are subtle but consistent, suggesting an intelligent or at least active presence rather than random, residual energy. The history of the Cactus Jack Motel adds a layer of intrigue to these supernatural reports. Over the decades, the property has hosted countless travelers, families, and individuals drawn to Sedona's natural beauty. Some local lore suggests that past residents, guests, or workers may have left lingering impressions upon the building, whether through emotional attachment, unresolved events, or some other unexplained mechanism. It appears that the motel has absorbed a wealth of human energy over time. The overlapping of these energies may explain why nightfall brings with it such a concentration of paranormal activity. Guest experiences often highlight both the subtlety and intensity of the supernatural presence. One visitor recounted waking to the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps pacing the hallway outside their room, only to find it empty when they looked. Another described feeling a cold draft brush against their arm while walking to the communal kitchen, accompanied by the vague outline of a shadow in the corner of their vision. Some long-term guests have spoken of recurring experiences, reporting that the footsteps, shadows, and temperature fluctuations occur in predictable patterns, reinforcing the sense that the motel itself holds on to these phenomena night after night. Staff at the Cactus Jack Motel are familiar with guest reports and have observed unusual activity themselves. Several employees have recounted seeing doors swing open on their own, hearing disembodied whispers, or sensing a sudden drop in temperature while walking through the hallways late at night. Some even claim to have glimpsed the shadowy figures described by guests, typically observing them from a distance before they fade into darkness. While many staff members remain cautious, they generally treat the experiences with a quiet respect, understanding that the motel's reputation for paranormal activity has become an integral part of its identity. Paranormal investigators often note that the red rock landscape surrounding Sedona may amplify or interact with the energy present at the motel, whether through natural ley lines, residual energy, or other unknown factors. The location appears to be conducive to supernatural phenomena. Visitors have speculated that the combination of the scenic landscape and the motel's history creates a unique environment where the veil between the ordinary and the paranormal becomes thin, particularly after nightfall. The Cactus Jack Motel continues to draw guests not only for its scenic views and convenient accommodations, but also for the intrigue of its unexplained activity. Travelers often arrive eager to experience the sights, sounds, and sensations reported over the years, whether in search of proof or simply the thrill of the unknown. Footsteps echo in hallways, shadows linger in corners, and the sudden chill of a cold spot reminds guests that the motel holds more than just the memories of living visitors. Each night, as darkness settles over the red rocks and the desert winds whisper softly, the Cactus Jack Motel stands as a quiet witness to decades of human presence and unexplained phenomena, offering those who stay a glimpse into a world where the ordinary and the supernatural intersect. The Desert Inn Motel, located in Yavapai County, Arizona, has long been a fixture along local travel routes, offering modest accommodations for weary travelers and tourists exploring the surrounding desert landscapes. At first glance, the inn appears unremarkable, a typical roadside motel with weathered signage and quiet parking lots. Yet beneath this ordinary exterior lies a rich history and a reputation for unexplained, sometimes unnerving, activity. Guests and staff alike have reported phenomena, ranging from ghostly children laughing in empty hallways to lights flickering in rooms with no electricity. Some visitors even claim to have felt invisible hands tugging at their blankets while they slept, creating an atmosphere that blends the everyday with the supernatural. Many guests report that the desert inn exudes a different energy at night, a shift that begins as soon as darkness falls. Hallways that are quiet during the day take on a strangely charged atmosphere, with a sense of being observed or followed. Footsteps echo along corridors, sometimes soft and deliberate, other times quick and irregular, as though unseen children are racing through the halls. The laughter of these spectral children is among the most frequently reported phenomena. Visitors describe it as high-pitched and playful, often echoing from empty rooms or from spaces where no children have ever been seen. The laughter can be sudden and startling, appearing and disappearing with no discernible pattern. Electrical anomalies are another hallmark of the desert inn's haunted reputation. Guests frequently report lights flickering in rooms where the power has been turned off or where circuits are inactive. Lamps may glow and dim without explanation. Ceiling fans may start spinning on their own, and television sets sometimes turn on or off spontaneously. These occurrences are often accompanied by a sensation of cold, as if the energy causing the electrical disturbances carries with it an invisible chill. For some visitors, the unpredictability of the electrical activity adds to the sense that something unseen is actively engaging with the motel's environment. Perhaps the most unsettling reports involve physical sensations that cannot be explained by natural causes. Some guests have felt invisible hands tugging at their blankets or brushing against their arms while lying in bed. These experiences are often sudden and brief, yet intense enough to leave lasting impressions. Witnesses describe a mix of fear, curiosity, and awe, unable to explain why such interactions occur only at certain times or in particular rooms. Staff members at the Desert Inn have grown accustomed to reports of unusual activity, yet many still find the experiences unnerving. Longtime employees recount hearing children's laughter echo through empty hallways, seeing lights flicker without cause, and witnessing doors slowly open or close on their own. Some staff have felt the tug of an unseen hand while making beds or arranging linens late at night. While skeptics might dismiss these events as tricks of the mind or quirks of an old building, the repeated and consistent nature of the reports lends credibility to the motel's haunted reputation. Paranormal investigators have frequently visited the Desert Inn, intrigued by the range and consistency of activity reported. Using thermal cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recording devices, investigators have captured evidence suggestive of phenomena beyond conventional explanation. Thermal imaging often reveals sudden drops in temperature in hallways or rooms, sometimes coinciding with the sounds of footsteps or laughter. EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Recordings occasionally capture faint voices or giggles that cannot be attributed to any living person. Investigators have also documented flickering lights and other electrical anomalies, lending further weight to the stories shared by guests over the years. Local lore provides some context for the hauntings. The Desert Inn has a long history, dating back several decades, and has hosted countless visitors, families, and individuals. Some speculate that the spirits of children who passed through or lived nearby have remained tethered to the property, continuing to play and laugh long after their time in the mortal world. Others believe that the motel itself has absorbed emotional energy over the years, replaying moments from the past as residual hauntings. Regardless of the origin, the phenomena are consistently reported in certain rooms, hallways, and communal areas, suggesting that the energy is concentrated and persistent. Guest experiences often include vivid sensory details that make the hauntings particularly memorable. One visitor described waking to the sound of soft giggles and the tapping of small feet on the wooden floors, only to find the hallway empty when looking out the door. Another recounted sitting on the edge of the bed while the blankets were suddenly tugged away by an unseen force, leaving a chill in the air and a sense of presence nearby. Guests frequently mention feeling a combination of fear and fascination, intrigued by the motel's mysterious energy, while simultaneously cautious of what might occur next. The desert, in Motels' reputation, has made it a destination not just for travelers, but for those interested in the paranormal. People arrive with cameras, audio recorders, and EMF detectors, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. Many report leaving with recordings of unexplained sounds, photographs showing anomalous shapes or light anomalies, and personal accounts that cannot be easily dismissed. Even casual visitors, staying for convenience or budget-friendly lodging, often find themselves sharing stories of their own encounters, adding to the motel's growing legend. Despite its reputation for hauntings, the Desert Inn continues to operate as a functioning motel, welcoming travelers to its simple, unassuming rooms. Guests who come seeking a typical stay are often surprised by the strange occurrences, while those hoping for paranormal experiences are rarely disappointed. The combination of ordinary comfort and extraordinary phenomena creates a unique atmosphere, one that blends the everyday with the unexplained. For those traveling through Yavapai County, the Desert Inn Motel offers more than a place to rest. Lights flicker, hallways echo with footsteps, and rooms seem alive with energy that refuses to dissipate. The Desert Inn stands as a testament to the lingering echoes of the past, a place where history, memory, and the supernatural intersect in ways that continue to intrigue and unsettle all who enter its doors. The Bluebird Motel in Tucson, Arizona, is a modest roadside lodging with a long history, tucked away among the bustling streets of the city. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary motel, with its simple architecture and welcoming neon signage. Yet, over the years, the Bluebird Motel has earned a reputation for paranormal activity that draws both casual visitors and devoted ghost hunters. Among the most frequently reported phenomena are sightings of a mysterious woman in a flowing blue dress, the sound of piano music emanating from an empty lobby, and the lingering scent of perfume with no apparent source. These eerie occurrences have made the motel a subject of fascination for anyone intrigued by the unexplained. Guests often first notice something unusual as they walk through the motel's hallways. The air can feel inexplicably heavy or cool, a subtle reminder that the ordinary rules of the physical world may not fully apply. Some report catching glimpses of movement from the corner of their eye, only to turn and find the corridor empty. Others describe a sudden sense of being observed, even when alone in their rooms. The most widely recounted visual phenomenon is the appearance of a woman dressed in a vintage blue gown, her figure elegant yet ethereal. Witnesses describe her moving slowly and deliberately through the hallways, sometimes pausing to glance at guests before vanishing as if dissolving into the shadows. The woman in the blue dress is consistently described as graceful and almost sorrowful, her presence both mesmerizing and unsettling. She has been spotted at various times of night, most frequently during the early hours when the motel is quiet. Guests report that she seems aware of their gaze, but does not interact in a conventional sense. When she disappears, it is sudden, leaving behind only the faint impression of her presence. Some have speculated that she may be the spirit of a former guest or an employee tied to the motel's past, eternally wandering the corridors for reasons unknown. Auditory phenomena are another hallmark of the Bluebird Motel's haunting. Many visitors report hearing the delicate strains of piano music drifting from the lobby, even when no one is present to play. The melodies are often described as soft and melancholic, echoing through the empty spaces and filling the hallways with an eerie charm. Some guests have attempted to locate the source of the music, only to find the piano untouched, the room silent, and no explanation for the sound. The music often coincides with sightings of the woman in blue, creating a haunting sensory experience that combines sight, sound, and emotion. The scent of perfume is another recurring element of the motel's paranormal activity. Guests frequently notice a floral fragrance, sometimes strong and sometimes faint, lingering in areas where no one is present. The perfume is often described as sweet, elegant, and reminiscent of an earlier era. Its appearance tends to coincide with other unexplained phenomena, such as the piano music or the presence of the blue-dressed apparition. The combination of sound, sight, and scent creates a fully immersive experience for those who encounter it, leaving many with the sense that the motel is alive with the memories of its past. Staff members at the Bluebird Motel are familiar with these reports and sometimes experience similar events themselves. Several employees have described hearing the piano play in the middle of the night, seeing shadowy movements in empty hallways, or catching a fleeting glimpse of the woman in blue while performing routine duties. Many staff members approach these occurrences with quiet respect, acknowledging the motel's unusual energy without attempting to rationalize or dismiss it. The shared acknowledgement of these phenomena among both guests and employees has contributed to the Bluebird Motel's reputation as a genuinely haunted location. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the motel by the frequency and consistency of reports. Using audio recorders, cameras, and thermal imaging equipment, they have documented a range of unusual activity. Recordings sometimes capture faint piano notes or indistinct whispers, while photographs occasionally reveal blurred or semi-transparent figures moving across hallways. Thermal cameras frequently detect sudden drops in temperature, particularly near the lobby and upper corridors, correlating with guest accounts of encounters with the apparition. While skeptics often suggest these phenomena are the result of imagination or environmental factors, the repeated and consistent nature of the reports adds weight to the belief that the Bluebird Motel hosts genuine paranormal activity. The history of the Bluebird Motel adds context to these hauntings. Operating for decades, the motel has seen countless travelers, families, and long-term guests. Stories suggest that the woman in blue may be tied to events from the motel's earlier years, whether as a guest who met an untimely end, or as someone with a deep emotional connection to the property. While her exact identity remains a mystery, the apparition continues to captivate those who witness her, adding an element of historical intrigue to the paranormal experience. Visitors often describe the combination of visual, auditory, and olfactory phenomena as profoundly affecting. One guest reported entering the lobby at night, hearing the piano play softly, and catching a glimpse of the woman in blue gliding past the corridor. At the same time, a faint fragrance of perfume filled the air, making the encounter feel tangible and real. Others recount waking in their rooms to hear the piano from the lobby echoing through the building, accompanied by the faint impression that they were not alone. These experiences leave a lasting impression, often prompting visitors to share their stories and return to the motel in hopes of witnessing more. Despite its reputation for hauntings, the Bluebird Motel remains a welcoming and functioning lodging destination. Guests continue to visit for its convenient location and affordability, yet many are drawn specifically by the allure of its ghostly tales. The combination of everyday comfort with unexplained occurrences creates a unique atmosphere where history, memory, and the supernatural seem to intersect. Night after night, the piano plays unseen, the scent of perfume lingers in empty corridors, and the woman in blue continues her quiet wandering, a timeless presence at the heart of the Bluebird Motel. The Golden West Motel in Holbrook, Arizona, is a classic roadside lodging with a reputation that extends far beyond its modest exterior. At first glance, it appears to be a typical mid-century motel, with simple architecture, neatly aligned rooms, and a welcoming neon sign glowing against the desert night. However, over the years, the Golden West has earned a reputation among travelers, locals, and paranormal enthusiasts for experiences that defy explanation. Guests frequently report witnessing shadows moving independently of any human presence, doors opening and closing on their own, and even figures sitting silently at the edge of their beds, watching them. These eerie occurrences have cemented the Golden West Motel's status as one of Holbrook's most haunted lodging locations. Many visitors first sense the motel's unusual energy as they walk through its hallways at night. The silence can feel heavy, punctuated only by distant noises that seem out of place. Guests often describe an unsettling sensation of being watched, even when they are alone in their rooms. Shadows are among the most commonly reported phenomena. Guests have recounted seeing dark shapes flicker across the hallways, dart from room to room, or linger in corners. Unlike ordinary shadows cast by light, these movements occur with no apparent source and often defy the natural direction of illumination. Some witnesses describe the shadows as vaguely humanoid, while others perceive them as shifting forms with no clear shape, moving deliberately as if observing the living. Doors that open and close without human intervention are another hallmark of the Golden West Motel as paranormal activity. Guests have woken in the middle of the night to find room doors slightly ajar, or closet doors swinging as though someone had brushed past them. These occurrences are reported across different parts of the motel, affecting both newly renovated and older rooms. The movements are rarely violent, but are precise enough to unsettle visitors, suggesting an intelligence behind the actions. Many guests describe the experience as unnerving, particularly when combined with other phenomena such as shadows or unexplained sounds. Perhaps the most chilling experiences involve figures appearing near or on beds. Some visitors have reported seeing indistinct silhouettes seated at the edge of their beds, silently staring or observing their movements. These apparitions are typically human-shaped but often lack detailed features, appearing as dark forms that fade when looked at directly. Guests consistently describe feeling a presence and awareness of being watched or acknowledged without any tangible interaction. The moments are brief yet impactful, leaving visitors with a lingering sense of unease that often lasts well beyond their stay. Staff members at the Golden West Motel are familiar with these occurrences and have witnessed them firsthand. Longtime employees report hearing doors close on their own, objects shifting slightly in empty rooms, and shadows moving along hallways. Some have recounted seeing figures briefly appear before vanishing when approached. While some staff remain skeptical, many accept the unexplained events as a natural part of the motel's character, treating them with quiet respect and discretion. Their experiences reinforce the consistency of guest reports, further establishing the motel's reputation for paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators have visited the Golden West Motel to document its phenomena. Intrigued by the repeated reports of shadows, moving doors, and bedside apparitions, using a combination of cameras, motion detectors, EMF meters, and audio recorders, investigators have captured instances of unusual activity. Night vision footage sometimes reveals fleeting figures moving across hallways, while EMF spikes suggest the presence of energy in rooms that are otherwise unoccupied. Audio recordings occasionally capture faint whispers or unexplained thuds, adding to the body of evidence that supports the motel's haunted reputation. While skeptics argue that some events may have mundane explanations, the consistency and multiplicity of reports make the Golden West Motel a compelling location for paranormal study. The history of the Golden West Motel adds context to the eerie occurrences. Operating for decades, the motel has hosted countless travelers and long-term guests, many of whom left behind memories and energy that may have lingered in the building. Some speculate that certain spirits or residual energies have become attached to specific rooms or areas of the property, replaying actions and creating a sense of presence. Others suggest that the motel itself, through years of human activity and emotional intensity, has developed a sensitivity to energy, allowing unexplained phenomena to manifest. Guest accounts often emphasize the personal and emotional impact of these experiences. One visitor described waking to find a shadowy figure seated at the foot of their bed, its form indistinct but radiating an unspoken presence. Another recounted entering a hallway only to see a dark shape glide along the wall, vanishing as she reached for her camera. Doors that opened and closed spontaneously, objects that shifted without explanation, and the occasional cold spot all contributed to a sense of tension and intrigue. Many guests leave with vivid memories of their encounters, often sharing their experiences with friends, family, or online communities. Further fueling the motel's mysterious reputation, the Golden West Motel continues to operate as a lodging destination, welcoming travelers seeking accommodations in Holbrook. Many come for the convenience and affordability, while others are drawn specifically by the allure of its paranormal history. The combination of ordinary comfort and extraordinary phenomena creates an experience that is both intriguing and unsettling, offering guests the chance to encounter events that cannot be fully explained. From moving shadows to silent figures at the edge of a bed, the Golden West Motel presents an environment where the line between the living and the unseen is thin. Guests walk its hallways at night, doors creak and sway, shadows move independently, and an unseen presence observes quietly from corners. The Golden West Motel stands as a testament to the unknown, a place where the ordinary world meets the extraordinary, and the past seems ever present in the spaces between its walls. The Apache Motel in Globe, Arizona, is a modest roadside lodging that captures the essence of Southwestern charm. From its adobe-inspired architecture to its hand-painted murals and desert landscaping. By day, it is a welcoming place for travelers exploring the region's rich history and natural beauty. However, the Apache Motel is also known for an unusual and enduring reputation, one steeped in the supernatural. Guests over the years have reported a variety of strange experiences, the most notable being the presence of a Native American spirit said to protect the land. Visitors often hear drums and chanting during the night, even when no events or ceremonies are scheduled, adding a mysterious and deeply cultural layer to the motel's already intriguing ambience. Many guests first notice the unusual activity late at night, where the motel is quiet during the daytime. The nighttime atmosphere often feels charged, as if the land itself is watching. Hallways are said to carry faint echoes of footsteps, and rooms occasionally become inexplicably cold. Despite the desert's warm climate, the most frequently reported auditory phenomena are rhythmic drumming and low chanting, often accompanied by the faint scent of sage or other native herbs. The sounds seem to come from no particular source, filling the air around the motel in a way that is both haunting and reverent, giving visitors the impression that they are encountering something far older than the building itself. The Native American spirit, reportedly tied to the Apache Motel, is described as a guardian rather than a malicious presence. Guests and staff alike have expressed that the spirit's energy feels protective, watching over the property and the surrounding land. Some have reported glimpsing a shadowy figure near the edges of the property, standing silently or moving with deliberate purpose. These sightings are usually brief, yet they leave a lasting impression, reinforcing the sense that the motel exists in harmony with forces beyond the ordinary. The spirit is often associated with the land itself, tied to the history and traditions of the indigenous people of the region. Guests who have stayed in the rooms closest to the central courtyard or near the desert-facing windows are most likely to experience unusual phenomena. Some describe hearing distinct drum beats echoing through their walls, accompanied by chants that appear to rise and fall in rhythm. Others report the feeling of being observed, though no one is visible. The sounds are rarely intrusive or threatening. Rather, they evoke a sense of ceremony, respect, and connection to a cultural past that continues to resonate through the motel's grounds. Some guests awaken during the night to the faint rhythm of drums, a sound so vivid that it seems almost tangible, as though the spirit is making its presence known in a deliberate and purposeful way. The smell of sage or other herbs is another recurring element of the motel's haunted reputation. Guests often report catching the scent in hallways or in their rooms, even when no one has been burning incense or smudging. This aroma is sometimes accompanied by the sound of chanting, heightening the sensory experience and lending an almost ritualistic quality to the haunting. Some visitors describe feeling a sense of calm or reverence in the presence of these phenomena, as if they are being reminded of the deep cultural and spiritual roots that define the region. Staff at the Apache Motel are no strangers to these unusual occurrences. Longtime employees have recounted hearing drumming and chanting during quiet hours, witnessing shadowy figures in the courtyard, and feeling a sudden shift in temperature in certain rooms. Some have reported a sense of being watched or guided, particularly near the edges of the property where the land rises into hills or natural formations. While skeptical employees may initially question what they hear or see, many come to accept the experiences as part of the motel's character and history, treating them with quiet respect rather than fear. Paranormal investigators have taken a particular interest in the Apache Motel, drawn by the combination of auditory phenomena, visual sightings, and the consistent descriptions provided by guests. Using thermal cameras, audio recorders, and EMF meters, investigators have documented unusual readings and instances of unexplained sounds. Some recordings capture rhythmic drumbeats and faint chanting when the motel is otherwise empty. Thermal imaging occasionally detects cold spots or vague, shadow-like shapes in courtyards and hallways, further corroborating guest reports. While skeptics may attribute some phenomena to environmental factors, the consistency of experiences across different guests and investigators points to a source beyond conventional explanation. Local history adds an additional layer to the motel's enigmatic reputation. Globe, Arizona, sits in a region rich with Native American heritage, and the Apache Motel itself occupies land that was once part of traditional indigenous territory. Some theorize that the spirit haunting the motel is a guardian figure, an echo of cultural practices meant to protect sacred land. Others suggest that the frequent reports of drums, chants, and protective energy are manifestations of residual spiritual energy tied to centuries of human activity in the area. Regardless of interpretation, the blending of cultural history and paranormal activity creates an experience unique to the Apache Motel. Guest experiences often emphasize the intensity of the auditory phenomena. One visitor described waking in the early hours to a rhythmic drumming resonating through the hallways, accompanied by faint chanting that seemed to circle the property. Another reported the distinct scent of sage filling her room, coinciding with a sudden chill in the air and the sensation of an unseen presence standing near the window. Many guests leave the motel with a profound sense of connection, reporting that the experiences, while unsettling, felt respectful and even comforting, as though they had encountered a guardian rather than a malicious spirit. Despite the motel's haunted reputation, the Apache Motel continues to operate as a welcoming destination for travelers. Guests come for its southwestern charm, convenient location, and cultural significance, while also experiencing the unique phenomena that set the property apart. The combination of ordinary comfort, rich heritage, and paranormal activity creates a distinctive environment where history, culture, and the unexplained intersect. Nightly drumming, shadowed figures, and the scent of sage remind visitors that the Apache Motel is more than a place to stay. It is a living connection to the past, a space where the land itself seems to watch, protect, and endure. The Sunset Motel in Mesa, Arizona, is a modest roadside lodging that has served travelers for decades, offering simple accommodations and convenient access to the surrounding city and desert landscape. At first glance, it appears to be an unremarkable stop along the highway, with its plain exterior and well-worn signage. Yet beneath this ordinary facade lies a history of unexplained activity that has intrigued guests, locals, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Over the years, visitors have reported a variety of strange phenomena, from hearing disembodied voices calling their names to feeling the sensation of being watched while sleeping. Lights flicker without cause, footsteps echo outside empty rooms, and the motel has gained a reputation as a hotspot for paranormal encounters in Mesa. Guests often first sense the motel's unusual energy as night falls. The hallways, which seem ordinary during the day, take on a distinct tension after dark. Many visitors describe an uneasy feeling of being observed, even when walking alone or lying in bed. Footsteps are among the most commonly reported occurrences, often heard pacing outside doors or moving along hallways that are otherwise empty. The sounds vary, sometimes slow and deliberate, other times quick and erratic, and they often stop suddenly, leaving guests questioning whether anyone was present at all. These auditory disturbances are reported across multiple rooms and corridors, creating a pervasive sense that the motel is alive with unseen activity. One of the most unsettling experiences at the Sunset Motel involves disembodied voices. Guests frequently report hearing their names called, often softly but clearly enough to be recognized. Sometimes the voices come from the hallway outside their doors. Other times, they seem to emanate from within the room itself. The calls are always brief, disappearing as suddenly as they appear, leaving guests startled and uneasy. Many have attempted to locate the source of the voices, but they are never able to find anyone speaking, further reinforcing the sense of a supernatural presence. Electrical disturbances are another hallmark of the Sunset Motel's haunting. Lights often flicker without warning, sometimes in single rooms and other times throughout the building. Guests have reported lamps turning on and off by themselves, televisions powering up unexpectedly, and other devices behaving erratically. These anomalies are frequently accompanied by a sensation of cold air or a sudden shift in the room's atmosphere, heightening the feeling that the environment is influenced by an unseen force. The combination of flickering lights and unexplained noises contributes to an atmosphere that is simultaneously intriguing and unnerving. Visitors also describe a distinct sense of being watched while sleeping. While no physical form is ever seen in these instances, the feeling is often described as intensely real. Many guests awaken to discover minor disturbances around the room, such as pillows slightly moved, blankets tugged, or doors that were previously closed now ajar. These subtle manifestations add to the motel's reputation for active paranormal energy and leave guests with stories that linger long after their stay. Staff members at the Sunset Motel are familiar with these experiences and have encountered strange phenomena themselves. Several employees have reported hearing footsteps or voices while walking through the hallways late at night, seeing lights flicker in empty rooms, or sensing a presence nearby that cannot be explained. Longtime staff often describe a mix of curiosity and caution when witnessing these occurrences, acknowledging the motel's reputation for hauntings while continuing their duties. Their experiences align closely with guest reports, adding credibility to the idea that the motel hosts genuine paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators have taken a particular interest in the Sunset Motel, drawn by the consistency and variety of reports. Using thermal cameras, audio recorders, and EMF detectors, they have captured evidence suggesting the presence of unexplained energy. Recordings sometimes reveal faint voices or the sound of pacing footsteps when no one is present. Thermal imaging occasionally detects cold spots in hallways and guest rooms, correlating with areas where guests report feeling watched. While skeptics attribute some phenomena to old wiring or environmental factors, the frequency and similarity of experiences among multiple visitors indicate that the Sunset Motel is a prime location for paranormal study. Guest accounts often emphasize the personal impact of these experiences. One visitor recounted waking to hear their name whispered softly outside the door, accompanied by the sound of footsteps pacing back and forth. Another described the lights in their room flickering repeatedly, coinciding with the sensation that someone was watching them from a corner. These encounters leave a lasting impression, prompting guests to share their stories with friends, family, or online communities, and contributing to the motel's growing reputation as a haunted destination. The Sunset Motel's reputation does not deter travelers. In fact, it attracts many who are intrigued by the possibility of encountering the unexplained. Guests seeking a typical stay often find themselves captivated by the strange occurrences, while paranormal enthusiasts come specifically to experience the motel's eerie energy firsthand. The combination of ordinary comfort and extraordinary phenomena creates an environment where the line between reality and the supernatural feels thin, and where each stay may offer a story worth telling. Footsteps echo, voices call, and lights flicker in the darkened hallways of the Sunset Motel. Guests lie in their beds, feeling the weight of unseen eyes and sensing a presence just beyond perception. Each night, the building seems to come alive, a space where ordinary travelers intersect with forces that defy explanation. Whether for a brief stay or an extended visit, the Sunset Motel provides an experience that is both unsettling and unforgettable. A place where the everyday and the supernatural converge in haunting harmony. The Silver Spur Motel in Kingman, Arizona, is a classic Route 66 lodging that has welcomed travelers for decades. Its vintage charm, with neon signage and mid-century architecture, evokes a bygone era of American road travel. At first glance, the motel appears to be a typical roadside stop, offering basic rooms and convenient access to the historic highway. However, over the years, the Silver Spur has gained a reputation for paranormal activity that has intrigued both guests and investigators alike. Stories of ghostly apparitions, objects moving without explanation, and unusual occurrences in specific rooms have made it one of Kingman's most notorious haunted locations. Among the rooms, Room 12 is widely cited as the epicenter of the supernatural events, drawing the attention of those fascinated by the unexplained. Guests often notice the motel's eerie energy upon checking in. While the property is calm during the daytime, the atmosphere shifts after dark. Hallways seem to carry echoes of the past, and visitors report an unsettling feeling of being watched. Apparitions are a common phenomenon, with several guests claiming to see figures dressed in vintage clothing reminiscent of the motel's earlier decades. These figures often appear briefly in hallways or standing silently in rooms before vanishing when observed directly. Witnesses describe the apparitions as detailed and lifelike, from the flowing dresses and hats worn by women to the formal suits and fedoras of men, suggesting that these spirits are echoes of past guests or employees still lingering in the motel. Room 12, in particular, is notorious among visitors for the intensity of paranormal activity. Guests staying in this room frequently report objects moving on their own chairs, shifting slightly, lamps tilting, and personal belongings occasionally displaced. Some have reported the sensation of invisible hands brushing against them while they sleep, or feeling sudden chills despite warm weather. Lights in the room often flicker, and guests describe the sound of faint whispers that seem to emanate from the corners of the space. These experiences leave many visitors both fascinated and uneasy, cementing Room 12's reputation as the most haunted location within the Silver Spur Motel. Staff members are no strangers to the motel's paranormal phenomena. Longtime employees have recounted hearing footsteps in empty hallways, seeing shadowy figures move across rooms, and witnessing doors that open or close on their own. Some have observed the vintage apparitions that guests describe, most often in hallways near Room 12. Employees report a mixture of awe and caution, acknowledging the unusual events without attempting to explain them. Many accept the activity as part of the motel's character, recognizing that it has become an integral part of its identity and lore. Paranormal investigators have visited the Silver Spur Motel numerous times, drawn by consistent reports from both guests and staff. Using thermal imaging cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recording devices, they have documented evidence of unusual activity. Thermal cameras often reveal cold spots in Room 12 and along hallways, coinciding with areas where apparitions have been sighted. Audio recordings capture faint voices, whispers, and occasionally footsteps when the motel is otherwise empty. While skeptics argue that some activity could be attributed to the building's age or environmental factors, the recurring nature of the experiences and their concentration in certain rooms, particularly Room 12, strongly suggests something unexplained is at work. Guests frequently recount experiences that are both vivid and unsettling. One visitor described lying in Room 12 and watching a shadowy figure in 1940s. Attire walked silently across the room, disappearing into the corner without a sound. Another reported waking to find a chair slightly moved from its original position, and the soft echo of footsteps retreating down the hallway. Many guests note that these encounters feel purposeful, as if the spirits are aware of their presence, yet choose not to engage directly, creating a haunting, almost theatrical experience. The Silver Spur Motel's history adds context to its haunted reputation. Built along Route 66 during the mid-20th century, the motel has hosted countless travelers, families, and long-term guests over the decades. Some speculate that the apparitions are former visitors or staff who remain tied to the property, their energy lingering in the rooms and hallways where they once lived or worked. Others suggest that the motel itself, steeped in decades of human activity and emotion, has absorbed residual energy that manifests as ghostly activity. Whether the cause is residual energy, active spirits, or a combination of both, the experiences reported by guests and staff are consistent and compelling. Visitors often describe a combination of visual, auditory, and physical sensations that make their encounters memorable. Some report seeing the vintage apparitions while simultaneously hearing faint music or whispers from another time. Others feel sudden drops in temperature or the sensation of being lightly touched by unseen hands. These multisensory experiences heighten the sense that the motel is alive with the presence of the past, and that the spirits of former guests continue to inhabit its spaces, particularly in Room 12. Despite the unsettling experiences, the Silver Spur Motel continues to operate as a functioning and welcoming lodging destination. Guests are drawn by its location, vintage charm, and affordability, but many are intrigued specifically by the possibility of encountering paranormal activity. The combination of everyday hospitality and supernatural phenomena creates a unique atmosphere where the past seems to coexist with the present. Visitors leave with stories of shadowy figures, flickering lights, and moving objects, often returning or sharing their experiences with others, further cementing the motel's haunted legacy. From the apparitions in vintage clothing to the unexplained movements of objects, the Silver Spur Motel offers an environment where history and the supernatural intertwine. Hallways echo with unseen footsteps. Room 12 resonates with unexplained activity, and visitors are left with a sense that the past continues to exist within the motel's walls. Each night, the property becomes a bridge between eras, a place where the ordinary and the extraordinary converge, leaving guests with memories that are both haunting and unforgettable. The Red Rock Motel in Sedona, Arizona, sits nestled among the area's iconic red rock formations, offering travelers a picturesque escape from the ordinary. By day, the motel's charming exterior and serene desert surroundings provide a sense of calm, inviting visitors to explore Sedona's stunning landscapes. Yet, beneath the beauty of the location lies a reputation for unusual and unexplained occurrences that have intrigued guests for decades. Visitors to the Red Rock Motel frequently report seeing mysterious orbs of light floating through hallways, experiencing sudden chills, and sensing the presence of unseen entities following them through the property. These phenomena have made the motel a destination not just for travelers seeking scenic views, but for those drawn by the allure of the paranormal. Many guests first notice the motel's eerie energy upon entering the hallways at night. The building, while modest and welcoming in the daytime, transforms into a space that feels charged with unseen forces after dark. Shadows stretch longer than they should, hallways seem quieter yet oddly alive, and the air often carries an unexplainable coolness. One of the most commonly reported occurrences is the appearance of floating orbs of light. These orbs vary in size and brightness, sometimes small and faint, other times larger and more intense, drifting silently through hallways or hovering near walls and doorways. Guests describe them as almost playful in their movement, moving against the natural flow of light and shadow in ways that defy explanation. In addition to visual phenomena, many visitors report sudden drops in temperature that coincide with the appearance of orbs or the feeling of being observed. These chills often occur in specific areas of the motel, such as near stairwells, empty corridors, or certain guest rooms. Visitors describe the sensation as sharp and immediate, often accompanied by goosebumps or a sense of foreboding. The combination of visual and physical phenomena contributes to an atmosphere that is simultaneously intriguing and unsettling, making the Red Rock Motel a memorable experience for those who stay there. The sensation of being followed by unseen presences is another common feature of the motel's haunting. Guests frequently report the feeling of a presence just behind them or at the edge of their perception as they move through hallways or enter empty rooms. Some describe hearing faint footsteps echoing in rhythm with their own, only to turn and find no one there. Others feel a subtle brush against their shoulder or the sensation of a gaze upon them, even when alone. These encounters often leave guests with an intensified awareness of the space around them, a heightened sense of tension and curiosity that lingers long after they leave. Staff at the Red Rock Motel are well acquainted with the unusual occurrences and sometimes experience them firsthand. Longtime employees report seeing orbs drifting through hallways, hearing unexplained sounds, and sensing the presence of something just out of sight. Some have noticed doors that were securely closed during the day found slightly ajar at night, or objects subtly shifted from their original positions. While some staff may initially question the validity of these events, many come to accept them as an intrinsic part of the motel's character, treating the unexplained activity with quiet respect rather than fear. Their experiences align closely with guest reports, reinforcing the motel's reputation for paranormal phenomena. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the Red Rock Motel due to the consistency and frequency of reported occurrences. Using thermal imaging cameras, audio recorders, and EMF detectors, they have documented a range of unexplained activity. Thermal cameras often reveal sudden cold spots that appear and disappear without explanation, coinciding with areas where guests report seeing orbs or sensing a presence. Audio equipment occasionally captures faint footsteps or whispered sounds that do not correspond to any living person. Photographs taken in hallways sometimes reveal translucent lights or shapes that cannot be accounted for by reflections or environmental factors. These documented instances provide compelling evidence that the Red Rock Motel hosts phenomena beyond the ordinary. Guest experiences are often described as multisensory encounters that leave lasting impressions. One visitor recounted walking down a dimly lit hallway and seeing a small, glowing orb drift past their line of sight before disappearing into the shadows. Another described entering their room and feeling an immediate chill, accompanied by the sensation of someone standing silently behind them. Many guests leave the motel with stories that are vivid and personal, sharing them with friends, family, or online communities, contributing to the property's growing legend as a haunted location. The Red Rock Motel's history adds context to the haunting. The property has accommodated travelers for decades, and over time, countless individuals have passed through its rooms and hallways. Some theorists suggest that the orbs represent residual energy from previous occupants, lingering in the space as faint echoes of the past. Others believe the presences are protective spirits tied to the land itself, a phenomenon sometimes attributed to Sedona's long-standing reputation for spiritual energy and mystical landscapes. Regardless of the explanation, the consistency and intensity of the reported experiences make it clear that the Red Rock Motel occupies a unique place in Sedona's paranormal landscape. Despite its reputation for ghostly activity, the Red Rock Motel remains a welcoming destination for travelers. Guests arrive seeking comfort, convenience, and the natural beauty of Sedona, often leaving with stories of the inexplicable. The combination of ordinary accommodations with extraordinary phenomena creates a setting where the boundary between the natural and supernatural feels thin. Hallways echo with quiet energy, orbs float silently through the night, and unseen presences trace the movements of those who walk the corridors. Each stay offers a chance to experience the paranormal firsthand, providing memories that linger as long as the Red Rocks themselves. From drifting orbs of light to sudden chills and the feeling of unseen eyes following their every step, guests at the Red Rock Motel encounter experiences that defy conventional explanation. The motel stands as a place where ordinary travelers brush against the extraordinary, where the natural beauty of Sedona intersects with the mysterious, and where each night brings the possibility of witnessing the unexplained. For those who venture within its walls, the Red Rock Motel is more than just a place to rest. is a space where the past and the unseen coexist, leaving every visitor with an unforgettable encounter. The Canyon View Motel in Flagstaff, Arizona, is a modest roadside lodging that has served travelers for decades, offering convenient access to the surrounding mountains and forests. Its unassuming exterior, marked by simple architecture and functional amenities, belies the unsettling experiences reported by many guests over the years. The motel has become known for paranormal activity, attracting both casual visitors and dedicated ghost hunters intrigued by its reputation. Among the most frequently reported phenomena are disembodied voices, flickering lights, and ghostly figures that appear suddenly and vanish without explanation. Paranormal investigators have captured EVP recordings containing whispering voices and unexplained knocking, lending credence to the idea that the Canyon View Motel is host to something beyond the ordinary. Many guests report sensing the motel's unusual energy as soon as they enter. During the daytime, the property feels ordinary and welcoming, but as night falls, the atmosphere often changes. Hallways become quiet, the air grows heavy, and shadows seem to shift unnaturally along walls. Disembodied voices are among the most frequently reported occurrences. Visitors describe hearing faint whispers calling their names, snippets of conversation, or soft murmurs that seem to echo from nowhere. Some guests have attempted to locate the source, checking rooms and hallways, only to find them empty. The voices often appear most strongly at night, lending an eerie quality to the motel's otherwise calm environment. Flickering lights are another hallmark of the Canyon View Motel's haunted reputation. Guests frequently report lamps, ceiling fixtures, and hallway lights turning on and off or fluctuating in brightness without any apparent electrical cause. The flickering often coincides with other phenomena, such as the sound of footsteps or the sensation of being observed. Many visitors describe the experience as both unsettling and mesmerizing, a visual reminder that the motel may be influenced by forces beyond explanation. Some have even reported lights flickering in patterns, almost as if trying to communicate, creating a chilling yet captivating experience. Ghostly figures are perhaps the most visually striking aspect of the motel's paranormal activity. Guests recount seeing shadows or fully formed apparitions suddenly appear in hallways, near doorways, or standing silently at the edge of their vision, only to vanish moments later. Some figures are humanoid, resembling past guests or employees, dressed in period clothing, while others are more vague, appearing as shadowy shapes with no discernible features. These apparitions often move slowly and deliberately, sometimes gliding along hallways or standing still as if observing the living. Witnesses consistently describe the encounters as both real and ephemeral, leaving a lasting impression even after the figures disappear. Staff at the Canyon View Motel have also experienced the unexplained firsthand. Employees report hearing footsteps in empty hallways, seeing shadowed figures move through the property, and noticing lights flicker or electrical devices malfunction without cause. Many staff members have felt a presence near rooms late at night, a sensation of being watched or followed while performing routine duties. While some are initially skeptical, most come to accept the motel's unusual activity as part of its character, approaching the experiences with a mix of caution and respect. Their accounts closely align with guest reports, reinforcing the motel's reputation as a hotspot for paranormal encounters. Paranormal investigators have frequently visited the Canyon View Motel to document its strange occurrences. Using a combination of EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recorders, thermal cameras, and EMF detectors, they have captured compelling evidence of unexplained activity. EVP recordings have picked up whispering voices that cannot be attributed to any living person, while unexplained knocking and rapping sounds have been detected in rooms and hallways. Investigators note that these phenomena appear consistently across different rooms and hallways, suggesting a persistent paranormal presence rather than isolated incidents. Guest experiences often combine visual, auditory, and physical sensations that make the haunting particularly memorable. One visitor described waking in the middle of the night to the sound of soft knocking on their door, followed by faint whispering in the hallway. When they looked outside, the corridor was empty. Yet the sensation of being observed remained. Another guest reported seeing a shadowy figure standing at the edge of the bed, watching silently before disappearing into the darkness. Many visitors recount feeling a sudden chill, a weight in the air, or the unmistakable impression of another presence nearby, leaving them both awed and unsettled. The Canyon View Motel's history adds context to its reputation. Operating for decades, it has hosted countless travelers, families, and long-term guests, each leaving behind a subtle imprint of energy. Some theorists suggest that the disembodied voices and apparitions are residual echoes of past events, trapped in the motel's hallways and rooms. Others believe the spirits may be active, aware of the living, and interacting in ways that are subtle but perceptible. Regardless of interpretation, the combination of consistent guest reports, staff experiences, and investigator documentation points to a location rich in paranormal activity. Despite the unsettling experiences reported by many, the Canyon View Motel continues to function as a welcoming lodging destination. Guests come for its convenient location, affordability, and the natural beauty of Flagstaff, but many are drawn by the possibility of witnessing the unexplained. The combination of ordinary accommodations and extraordinary phenomena creates an environment where the boundary between the natural and the supernatural feels thin. Visitors walk its hallways at night, feeling unseen eyes upon them, hearing whispers that cannot be explained, and witnessing lights flicker and shadowy figures appear before vanishing. From disembodied voices to flickering lights and ghostly apparitions, the Canyon View Motel offers an experience that lingers long after a visitor leaves. Each night, the building seems to come alive, a space where the past and present intersect and where unseen presences make themselves known. For travelers seeking more than just a place to sleep, the Canyon View Motel presents an opportunity to encounter the mysterious and the inexplicable, leaving every guest with an unforgettable impression of the haunted energy that permeates its walls. The Desert Rose Motel in Tucson, Arizona, is a small, unassuming lodging tucked away among the city's dusty streets and desert landscapes. At first glance, it seems like a typical roadside motel, with its simple rooms, neon signage, and modest courtyard. Yet over the years, the Desert Rose has developed a reputation that draws more than just ordinary travelers. Guests frequently report strange and unsettling experiences that suggest the presence of spirits lingering within the motel's walls. Among the most commonly described phenomena are shadowy figures appearing in the corners of rooms, sudden cold drafts that seem to move with a life of their own, and the faint, inexplicable scent of roses that appears without explanation. These experiences have led many to believe that the motel is haunted by former patrons, perhaps those who met untimely or tragic ends while staying there. Visitors often first notice the motel's unusual energy as they settle into their rooms, while the Desert Rose feels ordinary during the daytime. After nightfall, the atmosphere can change dramatically. Shadows seem to stretch unnaturally along walls and corners, and guests often catch movement from the corner of their eye that vanishes when they turn to look. Shadowy figures are among the most commonly reported apparitions. Witnesses describe seeing dark silhouettes linger in the corners of rooms, standing silently or gliding slowly across the floor. These figures rarely approach directly, instead remaining at the edge of perception, yet their presence is often deeply unsettling, leaving a lasting impression on those who encounter them. Cold drafts are another recurring phenomenon at the Desert Rose Motel. Guests frequently report sudden drops in temperature, sometimes accompanied by a tingling sensation on their skin or a sense of being touched by something unseen. These chills often occur in conjunction with sightings of shadowy figures, giving the impression that the spirits are actively manifesting in the room. Some visitors note that the air seems to move deliberately around them, as if following an invisible presence, heightening the feeling of being observed or accompanied by forces beyond the natural world. Perhaps the most enigmatic aspect of the motel's hauntings is the persistent scent of roses. Many guests report smelling a subtle floral fragrance that appears without any source, sometimes lingering in a room after the occupants have returned from dinner or the courtyard. The scent often coincides with other paranormal phenomena, such as shadow figures or sudden cold spots, creating a multisensory experience that cannot be easily explained. Some believe that the aroma represents a residual memory of past guests, an echo of the lives once present in the rooms. Others suggest that it is a deliberate manifestation by spirits, a gentle reminder of their lingering presence within the motel. Staff members at the Desert Rose Motel are familiar with these experiences and sometimes encounter them firsthand. Longtime employees report hearing footsteps in empty hallways, noticing lights flicker without cause, and feeling sudden drops in temperature in guest rooms. Some have glimpsed shadowy figures moving silently across hallways or lingering near doorways. Staff members often treat these occurrences as part of the motel's character, acknowledging the unexplained activity while continuing their duties with a mix of caution and respect. Their experiences often mirror those reported by guests, reinforcing the motel's reputation as a place where the supernatural seems to reside. Paranormal investigators have also taken an interest in the Desert Rose Motel. Using thermal cameras, audio recorders, and EMF detectors, they have documented a range of unusual activity. Thermal imaging often reveals cold spots that move across hallways or appear near room corners, coinciding with sightings of shadowy figures. Audio recordings have captured faint whispers or unexplained sounds resembling footsteps, while some photographs show semi-transparent shapes that cannot be accounted for by lighting or environmental conditions. These findings, combined with the consistency of guest reports, suggest that the Desert Rose Motel hosts a persistent and tangible paranormal presence. Guest accounts often emphasize the personal and emotional impact of these encounters. One visitor described seeing a dark figure standing silently in the corner of the room, accompanied by a sudden chill and the faint scent of roses, before it vanished without a trace. Another recounted feeling a presence brushing past a bed while asleep, followed by the unmistakable fragrance of flowers filling the air. Many guests leave with stories that linger long after they check out, feeling as though they have glimpsed the echoes of lives once present within the motel. Some believe that these spirits are former patrons who died on the property, remaining attached to the rooms where they spent their final days. The Desert Rose Motel's history adds context to its haunting reputation. Over the years, countless travelers and long-term guests have passed through its doors, each leaving behind an imprint of human energy. Some theorists suggest that these energies have become embedded in the motel's physical structure, manifesting as shadows, cold drafts, or residual scents. Others believe that certain spirits remain aware of the living, choosing to manifest in subtle ways that communicate their presence without causing harm. Whatever the explanation, the combination of consistent guest reports, staff experiences, and investigator documentation points to a location rich in paranormal activity. Despite its haunted reputation, the Desert Rose Motel continues to operate as a welcoming place for travelers. Guests come for its convenient location, affordability, and the allure of Tucson's natural and cultural attractions, often discovering the paranormal element as a compelling, if unsettling, bonus. The blend of ordinary hospitality with extraordinary phenomena creates a unique environment where the boundary between the living and the unseen feels thin. Hallways echo with silent footsteps, shadowed figures linger in corners, cold drafts sweep through empty rooms, and the subtle scent of roses drifts unexpectedly, creating a fully immersive and haunting experience. From shadowy figures to sudden chills and the ghostly fragrance of roses, the Desert Rose Motel offers encounters that linger long after guests leave. Each night, the building seems to come alive, a place where unseen presences make themselves known and where the past refuses to fully depart. For travelers seeking more than just a place to rest, the Desert Rose Motel provides a connection to the unknown, a space where memories of those who came before continue to echo through the rooms, leaving an unforgettable impression. The Trailblazer Motel in Prescott, Arizona, has long been a haven for travelers seeking comfort along the winding roads of northern Arizona. Its simple, Rustic exterior and quiet location make it an inviting stop for those exploring the surrounding forests and mountains. Yet the motel's charm is shadowed by a history of unexplained occurrences that have earned it a reputation as a site of paranormal activity. Guests and staff alike have reported encounters with ghostly apparitions, disembodied footsteps, and strange reflections in mirrors that suggest the presence of spirits who linger within the building. Many believe that these apparitions are travelers who never completed their journeys, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead, wandering the hallways of the Trailblazer Motel long after their time. Guests often first sense the motel's unusual energy upon entering the hallways after dark. By day, the property appears peaceful and ordinary, but as night falls, the atmosphere seems to shift. Hallways carry an almost tangible tension, and visitors describe an uncanny feeling of being watched or followed. Phantom footsteps are among the most frequently reported phenomena. Guests often hear the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps echoing along corridors when no one else is present. These footsteps can vary in intensity, from soft and distant to loud and deliberate, to often stop abruptly, leaving visitors to wonder if anyone is actually there. The sounds are usually reported in the upper hallways and along the wings where rooms are older and less frequented, creating an eerie sense of presence. Mirrors at the Trailblazer Motel are another source of unsettling activity. Guests have reported seeing reflections of figures in mirrors that do not correspond to any person in the room. Some describe fleeting glimpses of travelers dressed in period clothing, while others see more indistinct, shadowy forms standing silently behind them. The reflections are often subtle, disappearing when the viewer attempts to turn around and locate the source. Many guests describe these experiences as disorienting, leaving them with the impression that the motel itself is a threshold where the past intersects with the present. The combination of reflective apparitions and phantom footsteps has led some to believe that the Trailblazer Motel is a way station for spirits who were never able to complete their journeys. Staff members are no strangers to the motel's ghostly activity. Longtime employees have recounted hearing footsteps along empty hallways, seeing shadowy figures move across the walls, and noticing objects that shift slightly on their own. Some have experienced unusual occurrences in guest rooms' doors that open and close without explanation, lights that flicker unpredictably, and a sense of being observed while performing routine tasks. Staff often approach these experiences with a mix of respect and cautious curiosity, acknowledging that the motel has an unusual energy that has persisted for decades. Their experiences closely mirror those of guests, reinforcing the reputation of the Trailblazer Motel as a site of consistent and tangible paranormal phenomena. Paranormal investigators have also been drawn to the Trailblazer Motel due to its concentration of reported activity. Utilizing thermal cameras, audio recorders, and EMF detectors, investigators have documented evidence that suggests the presence of unexplained energy. Audio recordings often capture the faint sound of footsteps in empty hallways, while EVP, electronic voice phenomenon devices, sometimes pick up whispers or murmurs that cannot be attributed to any living person. Thermal imaging frequently reveals cold spots in hallways and rooms, corresponding to areas where guests and staff have reported apparitions or the sensation of being followed. These findings have made the Trailblazer Motel a location of interest for those studying the paranormal. Guest experiences are often vivid and immersive, combining visual, auditory, and physical sensations. One visitor described waking in the middle of the night to hear the sound of footsteps pacing outside their door, followed by the faint reflection of a figure in the hallway mirror. Another recounted entering a bathroom only to catch a shadowy form in the mirror that disappeared when they turned around. Many guests report sudden chills or the sensation of being lightly touched by an unseen presence, adding to the intensity of their encounters. The experiences, while often brief, leave a lasting impression, making the stay at the Trailblazer Motel unforgettable. The history of the Trailblazer Motel may help explain the unusual activity. Over the years, the property has accommodated countless travelers, some of whom may have experienced tragedy or unexpected misfortune during their stay. The stories suggest that the spirits of these incomplete journeys remain tied to the motel, wandering the hallways or appearing in reflective surfaces, unable to move on. Some theorists suggest that the energy of these lost travelers has been imprinted upon the building itself, creating a residual haunting that manifests as footsteps, shadowed figures, and other paranormal phenomena. Despite its haunted reputation, the Trailblazer Motel continues to operate as a welcoming destination for travelers. Guests are drawn by its location, affordability, and quiet atmosphere, while others are intrigued specifically by its paranormal activity. The combination of ordinary hospitality with extraordinary occurrences creates a unique environment where the past and present intersect. Hallways echo with phantom footsteps, mirrors reflect figures not present, and unseen presences seem to wander the rooms, offering a haunting glimpse into the lives of those who never completed their journeys. From ghostly apparitions to phantom footsteps and mysterious reflections, the Trailblazer Motel offers encounters that linger in memory long after guests depart. Each night, the building seems to awaken, allowing spirits to move through hallways, watch from corners, and leave subtle marks on those who experience their presence. For travelers seeking more than just a place to sleep, the Trailblazer Motel provides a connection to the unknown, a haunting experience where the past refuses to rest, and every corner carries the echoes of journeys left unfinished. The Coyote Creek Motel in Yuma, Arizona, sits quietly off the beaten path, surrounded by stretches of desert and open sky. Its isolated location offers travelers solitude and a sense of escape from the city. But this same remoteness has also made it a hotspot for strange and unexplained occurrences. Over the years, the motel has gained a reputation among guests and paranormal enthusiasts for activity that goes far beyond ordinary creaks and groans of an old building. Visitors frequently report doors opening and closing on their own, furniture shifting without explanation, and the unnerving sensation of being touched by invisible hands. The motel's seclusion seems to amplify these occurrences, creating an environment where the ordinary world fades and the supernatural comes forward. Many guests first notice the unusual activity soon after checking in. While the motel appears normal during the daytime, by nightfall, the atmosphere shifts. Hallways, usually quiet, seem to hum with an unseen energy. Some visitors hear doors creak open or slam shut, often in rooms that are empty or far removed from their own. These movements are never random. Chairs, tables, and other furniture often appear to have been deliberately shifted when guests return to their rooms. One traveler described waking in the middle of the night to find a chair that had been pushed to the center of the room, as though someone or something had rearranged the space. The sensation of being touched by unseen forces is another common phenomenon at the Coyote Creek Motel. These touches are never forceful, but they are unmistakable, creating a heightened sense of awareness and often leaving guests feeling simultaneously alarmed and fascinated. Some describe the touch as gentle, almost guiding, while others interpret it as a warning or presence asserting itself in the room. These experiences often occur during the quietest hours of the night, when the desert around the motel is still and the isolation of the property becomes tangible. The motel's location plays a significant role in the intensity of the reported paranormal activity. Surrounded by empty desert, with little to no ambient noise, every unexplained sound or movement is amplified. Footsteps echo down the hallways, chairs scraping against the floor become sharper, and the sudden movement of doors seems louder and more deliberate than it might in a more populated area. Guests have noted that the quiet and solitude of the Coyote Creek Motel create the perfect environment for the senses to pick up on subtle and unexplained phenomena, making the presence of the paranormal feel immediate and inescapable. Staff members are familiar with the motel's strange reputation and have occasionally witnessed the phenomena firsthand. Longtime employees report seeing doors swing open or closed without anyone near them, chairs or other furniture moving across rooms, and even the sensation of an unseen presence in hallways. Some staff describe cold drafts that move through the building without explanation, and the feeling that someone is standing just out of sight. Despite the unsettling nature of these experiences, employees often approach them with cautious acceptance, acknowledging that the motel has been host to unusual activity for decades. Their accounts align closely with those of guests, providing consistency to the stories of paranormal occurrences. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the Coyote Creek Motel because of the variety and intensity of the reported activity. Using EMF detectors, audio recorders, and thermal cameras, investigators have documented cold spots, unexplained sounds, and electromagnetic fluctuations that correspond with the areas where guests report being touched or witnessing movement. Audio recordings have captured faint creaks, whispers, and the subtle shifting of objects, while thermal imaging often reveals sudden cold spots that appear and disappear without any visible cause. These findings lend credibility to the accounts of visitors and staff, reinforcing the idea that the motel is a center for paranormal activity. Guest experiences often combine multiple sensations, creating encounters that are vivid and deeply memorable. One visitor described sitting on the edge of the bed when they felt a light pressure on their shoulder, only to turn and find the room empty. Moments later, a dresser drawer appeared slightly open, though no one had touched it. Another recounted returning to their room after walking the property and noticing a chair had shifted position, a door slightly ajar, and the unmistakable sense that someone or something was observing them. Many guests report that the combination of isolation, silence, and unexplained activity heightens the intensity of these experiences, leaving a lasting impression long after they leave the motel. The history of the Coyote Creek Motel may contribute to the paranormal activity reported by guests. The property has accommodated countless travelers over the decades, and some believe that the residual energy of these previous visitors remains within the building. Others suggest that spirits of those who passed through the area, or even met tragic fates nearby, linger here, their presence amplified by the motel's seclusion and desert surroundings. The combination of environmental isolation and human energy seems to create a space particularly receptive to unexplained phenomena, where even the simplest events, an open door, a shifted chair, take on a supernatural quality. Despite its haunted reputation, the Coyote Creek Motel continues to welcome travelers seeking both solitude and the unusual. Guests are drawn by its convenient location, affordability, and quiet setting, while many come hoping to encounter the unexplained firsthand. The blend of ordinary accommodations with extraordinary phenomena creates a unique environment where the line between the natural and the supernatural feels thin. Hallways echo with footsteps that cannot be accounted for. Doors open and close on their own, and unseen hands brush against guests in the quiet of the desert night. From shifting furniture to unexplained touches and doors that move without cause, the Coyote Creek Motel offers experiences that linger in memory. Each night, the building seems to awaken, hosting presences that are both gentle and unsettling, shaping an environment where isolation magnifies the supernatural. For visitors seeking more than just a place to rest, the Coyote Creek Motel provides an encounter with the mysterious, a space where the ordinary and the extraordinary collide, leaving an indelible impression on all who pass through its doors. The Saguaro Motel in Phoenix, Arizona, is a classic desert lodging with a reputation that extends far beyond its colorful neon signage and modest accommodations. Situated against the backdrop of sprawling desert landscapes and the iconic saguaro cacti for which it is named, the motel offers travelers a quiet retreat from the bustling city streets. However, beneath its seemingly ordinary exterior lies a haunting mystery that has intrigued visitors for decades. The motel is particularly notorious for sightings of a ghostly woman near the pool area at night. Guests often describe seeing her silhouette against the desert sky, only for her to vanish the moment anyone approaches. This enigmatic figure has become central to the motel's reputation for paranormal activity and continues to draw curiosity from those fascinated by the unexplained. Guests often first notice the motel's unusual energy in the evening, As the sun sets over the desert and long shadows stretch across the property, the pool area, a focal point for socializing and relaxation during the day, takes on an entirely different character after dark. Many visitors report a sudden sense of unease when walking near the pool, as if unseen eyes are observing them. The most commonly reported phenomenon is the appearance of a ghostly woman, her form delicate and ethereal, seemingly suspended between the physical world and the unknown. Witnesses describe her standing at the edge of the water or near lounge chairs, her silhouette framed by the warm glow of outdoor lights and the fading colors of the desert sunset. The woman's appearance is usually fleeting, lasting only a few moments before she disappears entirely. Guests have recounted approaching cautiously, only to find the area empty, with no trace of the figure they had just seen. Some describe the experience as surreal, a momentary glimpse of a presence that is both haunting and sorrowful. Her features are often indistinct in the dim light, yet observers consistently report a sense of awareness or intent in her stance, as though she is watching, waiting, or trying to communicate in a way that transcends words. This combination of visibility and intangibility has cemented her as the most famous spectral resident of the Saguaro Motel. The pool area itself seems to amplify the motel's unusual energy. Guests frequently report sudden chills despite warm desert nights, or a light breeze that moves across the water even when there is no wind. Some have heard faint sounds of footsteps on the deck or the quiet rustle of fabric, corresponding with sightings of the ghostly woman. These auditory and tactile sensations often accompany the visual experience, creating a multi-sensory encounter that feels startlingly real. Many visitors leave with a lingering impression of having brushed against the unseen, even when nothing can be physically observed. Staff members at the Saguaro Motel are no strangers to the ghostly woman or the unusual activity surrounding the pool. Longtime employees have reported witnessing her silhouette, often at times when the pool area is deserted. Some have experienced lights flickering in the vicinity or felt sudden cold spots when she appears, further reinforcing the notion that the phenomenon is more than imagination. Other staff recount hearing unexplained footsteps or soft whispers near the water late at night. While some approach these experiences with skepticism, many accept them as part of the motel's character, treating the ghostly presence with a combination of respect and caution. Their accounts closely mirror those of guests, lending credibility to the idea that the Saguaro Motel hosts genuine paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators have taken a particular interest in the Saguaro Motel, drawn by the consistency of reports and the visual nature of the ghostly encounters. Using cameras, night vision equipment, and audio recorders, investigators have attempted to document the figure's presence and capture evidence of associated phenomena. While clear photographic evidence is elusive, likely due to the fleeting nature of the apparition, thermal imaging and motion-sensitive devices sometimes detect unexplained heat signatures or movement near the pool. Audio equipment occasionally captures faint footsteps or whispering, aligning with guest reports of sensation and sound. Although skeptics suggest environmental factors may play a role, the repeated, consistent sightings over decades suggest an enduring and unexplained presence. Guest experiences often highlight the emotional impact of encountering the ghostly woman. One visitor described walking past the pool after dark and catching a silhouette at the water's edge, feeling a profound sense of sadness emanating from the figure before she disappeared. Another recounted seeing her standing near the lounge chairs, framed against the dusky desert sky, accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature that left the visitor shivering despite the mild night air. Many guests report a lingering sense of melancholy or reflection after the encounter, as if the ghostly woman carries a story of her own, perhaps tied to tragedy, longing, or unfinished business. The origins of the ghostly woman remain a mystery. Some speculate she may have been a past resident or visitor who met an untimely fate at the motel, her spirit bound to the property, and particularly to the pool area where she was last seen. Others suggest she is a residual presence, an imprint left on the motel grounds that manifests at night for those sensitive to the paranormal. Regardless of the explanation, Her repeated appearances suggest that the Saguaro Motel provides a unique threshold where the ordinary and the supernatural intersect, allowing fleeting glimpses of a world that lies just beyond perception. Despite the haunting reputation, the Saguaro Motel continues to welcome visitors from around the country. Guests are drawn by its convenient location, affordability, and the allure of the desert landscape, while many are intrigued specifically by the possibility of encountering the ghostly woman. The combination of everyday accommodations with extraordinary experiences creates an environment where the boundary between reality and the paranormal feels thin. Hallways and poolside areas echo with subtle activity. Shadowed forms linger at the edges of vision, and the desert night seems alive with a presence that refuses to be ignored. From the fleeting silhouette near the pool to sudden chills and the unexplainable awareness of being watched, the Saguaro Motel offers encounters that leave a lasting impression. Each evening, the property becomes a stage for the ghostly woman, a figure who moves silently between the desert and the world of the living. For travelers seeking more than a simple place to rest, the Saguaro Motel provides an opportunity to brush against the unknown, a haunting experience that merges the beauty of the desert night with the mystery of the unexplained leaving visitors with memories that linger long after they depart. The Pioneer Motel in Holbrook, Arizona, is a classic roadside stop along the historic Route 66, known for its mid-century charm and colorful neon signage. On the surface, it appears to be a typical motel, offering travelers a convenient place to rest while exploring the surrounding desert landscapes and the attractions of northern Arizona. However, beneath its ordinary exterior lies a history of strange and unsettling occurrences that have earned it a reputation among ghost hunters and curious visitors alike. Guests frequently report hearing conversations in empty rooms, doors slamming in unoccupied corridors, and other inexplicable phenomena that suggest the presence of spirits lingering within the motel's walls. Paranormal investigators have even claimed to capture spectral images in photographs taken throughout the property, solidifying the Pioneer Motel's status as one of Holbrook's most haunted locations. Many guests first notice the motel's unusual energy upon entering their rooms or walking down the hallways after nightfall. While the building is calm and welcoming during the day, the atmosphere changes dramatically after dark. Hallways that seemed ordinary during the afternoon can feel charged with unseen activity in the evening. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is hearing conversations in rooms where no one is present. Visitors describe faint voices, sometimes indistinct and sometimes surprisingly clear, as if two or more people were speaking just out of earshot. These sounds often echo down the hallways, leaving guests with the unsettling impression that the motel is alive with unseen occupants. Doors slamming in unoccupied corridors is another frequent occurrence. Guests report hearing sudden, forceful bangs coming from empty hallways or rooms far from their own. The sound often startles them, prompting a check of the corridor, only to find everything as it should be, doors closed, no wind or movement to account for the noise. Some describe the sound as rhythmic, almost deliberate, while others experience it as random and startling. This auditory activity contributes to an overall sense that the Pioneer Motel is a place where ordinary rules of reality do not always apply. Staff members at the Pioneer Motel are no strangers to these unusual events. Longtime employees have recounted hearing voices echo through hallways when no guests are present, doors slamming unexpectedly, and the sensation of being watched while performing routine duties. Some have witnessed fleeting shadows or movements at the edge of their vision, disappearing when they attempt to focus on them. Many staff treat these experiences with a mix of curiosity and caution, acknowledging that the motel has a history of unexplained activity while continuing to carry out their work. Their experiences often mirror those of guests, reinforcing the idea that the supernatural activity is persistent and consistent throughout the property. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the Pioneer Motel for decades, intrigued by the consistency of guest reports and staff accounts. Equipped with cameras, audio recorders, EMF detectors, and thermal imaging devices, investigators have documented a variety of unusual phenomena. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from photographs in which spectral images appear, often in hallways or near doorways. These images show translucent figures or shapes that cannot be explained by lighting, reflections, or environmental factors. Audio recordings capture faint conversations, whispers, and occasional knocks or bangs that cannot be attributed to human activity. Thermal imaging frequently reveals sudden cold spots in rooms or corridors where activity is reported, further suggesting a tangible, unexplained presence. Guest experiences at the Pioneer Motel often combine multiple sensory elements, creating encounters that are both vivid and haunting. One visitor described lying in bed and hearing the low murmur of voices coming from the room across the hall. When they went to investigate, the room was empty, and the voices ceased entirely. Another guest reported walking down a corridor late at night and witnessing a door slam shut violently without any breeze or physical cause, leaving them shaken and questioning what they had just experienced. Many visitors leave with a lingering impression that the motel is more than a place to sleep, is a space where past and present intermingle, and unseen forces continue to make themselves known. The history of the Pioneer Motel may help explain its paranormal activity. Operating for decades along a major travel route, the motel has hosted countless guests, many of whom may have experienced significant events during their stay. Some speculate that residual energy from past occupants has been imprinted on the building, manifesting as auditory phenomena, moving doors, and spectral apparitions. Others believe that conscious spirits remain attached to the property, interacting subtly with the living to convey their presence. Regardless of the explanation, the consistency of reports over time suggests a lasting connection between the motel and the unseen. Despite its reputation for hauntings, the Pioneer Motel continues to serve travelers and tourists, offering convenient accommodations for those exploring Holbrook and the surrounding desert. Guests are drawn not only by the motel's location and affordability, but also by its notoriety for paranormal encounters. Many visitors approach their stay with curiosity, hoping to experience the unexplained firsthand. The combination of ordinary comfort and extraordinary phenomena creates an atmosphere where the natural and supernatural coexist, giving the motel a unique identity that extends beyond simple lodging. From disembodied conversations and doors slamming without cause to spectral images captured on film, the Pioneer Motel offers encounters that linger in memory long after guests check out. Hallways echo with unseen voices, rooms carry the energy of the past, and investigators continue to document evidence of phenomena that defy conventional explanation. Each visit presents the possibility of witnessing the unexplained, leaving an indelible impression on all who enter. For those seeking more than a place to rest, the Pioneer Motel in Holbrook provides a direct connection to the mysterious and the unknown, a space where the past continues to whisper through its walls. The Desert Inn and Suites in Tucson, Arizona, is a long-standing fixture along the city's highways, offering travelers a convenient stopover with easy access to Tucson's attractions and the surrounding desert landscapes. While it presents a welcoming exterior with typical motel amenities, the Desert Inn and Suites has garnered a reputation for experiences that go beyond the ordinary. Guests often report paranormal activity, particularly in the older wing of the building, where fleeting shadows, cold spots, and objects moving on their own create an unsettling atmosphere. Over the years, these reports have attracted both curious travelers and paranormal investigators eager to explore the unexplained phenomena that seem to permeate the property. Many visitors first notice the motel's unusual energy upon entering the older wing, while the modern sections feel ordinary and comfortable. The older hallways have an atmosphere that feels charged, almost alive. Guests often describe a sudden drop in temperature as they walk down the corridor, a chill that seems to follow them or linger in specific spots. Cold drafts appear in rooms with no open windows or ventilation, leaving a sensation that something unseen is present. One of the most commonly reported occurrences is objects moving on their own, Guests have described chairs shifting positions, personal belongings sliding across countertops, and even doors opening or closing without any discernible cause. Many of these incidents happen when the rooms are unoccupied, leaving visitors puzzled and often slightly unnerved. In some cases, objects move in ways that suggest intention, as though an unseen force is interacting with the environment. These experiences are rarely violent or harmful, but the sense of someone or something being present is unmistakable. Fleeting shadows are another frequent phenomenon within the desert inn and suites. Guests often glimpse figures at the edge of their vision, particularly in hallways or dimly lit corners. These shadows may appear humanoid, sometimes resembling past visitors or employees, while at other times they are indistinct and amorphous, lacking clear form. Many witnesses describe the shadows as moving deliberately, appearing and disappearing suddenly, leaving a lingering sense that the motel is inhabited by unseen presences. These visual phenomena often coincide with cold spots or the movement of objects, creating a layered and immersive experience for those who encounter them. Staff members have also reported experiencing unusual activity, particularly in the older wing of the motel. Longtime employees recount hearing footsteps echoing along empty hallways, doors slamming when no one is near, and the occasional shifting of furniture or small objects. Some staff members describe a sense of being watched or followed while performing routine duties late at night, and a few have glimpsed shadows moving across corridors that disappear when investigated. These experiences are treated with cautious acceptance, as employees recognize that the motel has a long history of reported paranormal events. Their accounts often corroborate those of guests, adding credibility to the notion that the desert inn and suites hosts genuine unexplained phenomena. Paranormal investigators have taken a keen interest in the desert inn and suites due to the consistency and variety of reported activity, using tools such as EMF detectors, audio recorders, and thermal cameras. Investigators have documented cold spots, moving objects, and shadows that cannot be explained by natural causes. Audio recordings occasionally capture faint noises, including footsteps, whispers, or the subtle creak of furniture, while thermal imaging has revealed sudden temperature drops in areas where guests have reported feeling a presence. Photographs taken throughout the older wing sometimes show semi-transparent shapes or anomalies, further reinforcing the reports of paranormal activity. Guest experiences are often multisensory and emotionally impactful. One visitor recounted hearing a drawer open in the room next to theirs, accompanied by a chill and the sense of an unseen presence moving nearby. Another described walking down a dimly lit hallway when a shadow seemed to pass in front of them, disappearing before they could identify its source. Many guests report a mixture of fear and fascination, leaving the motel with stories that linger in memory long after their stay. Some express curiosity about the spirits, speculating that they may be former residents or visitors who remain tied to the motel's older wing. The history of the desert inn and suites may contribute to its paranormal activity. Operating for decades, the property has hosted countless travelers, families, and long-term guests, each leaving behind traces of energy that may linger in the building. Some theories suggest that residual energy from past occupants manifests as cold spots, shadows, or moving objects. Others propose that conscious spirits are still present, interacting with the living in subtle ways that communicate their existence without causing harm. Regardless of the explanation, the consistency and longevity of these reports suggest a persistent presence that has become part of the motel's character. Despite its haunted reputation, the desert inn and suites continues to function as a welcoming accommodation for travelers. Guests are drawn by its convenient location, affordability, and easy access to Tucson's attractions, while others are intrigued by the chance to witness paranormal phenomena firsthand. The combination of ordinary lodging and extraordinary experiences creates a unique atmosphere, where the boundary between the natural and the supernatural feels thin. Hallways echo with footsteps that may not belong to anyone. Furniture shifts without explanation. Shadows flit through corners, and cold drafts move unpredictably, inviting visitors to consider the unseen forces that occupy the space. From moving objects to cold spots and fleeting shadows, the Desert Inn and Suites provides experiences that linger long after a guest leaves. Each night, the older wing of the motel seems to awaken, hosting presences that are both subtle and unmistakable. For travelers seeking more than just a place to sleep, the Desert Inn and Suites offers an encounter with the mysterious, a space where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and where unseen forces continue to make their presence felt within the walls of this historic Tucson motel. The Route 66 Inn in Kingman, Arizona, is a historic motel situated along the famous highway, drawing travelers from across the country who are eager to experience the nostalgia of Route 66. At first glance, it appears as a typical roadside motel with modest accommodations, neon signage, and convenient parking. However, over the years, the Route 66 Inn has earned a reputation for paranormal activity that continues to intrigue both casual visitors and dedicated ghost hunters. Guests frequently report shadowy figures wandering the parking lot at night, lights flickering without cause, and sudden drops in temperature, creating an unsettling atmosphere. Staff members, too, have experienced unusual phenomena, including hearing footsteps in rooms that appear completely empty, adding to the motel's mysterious allure. Many visitors first notice something unusual as the sun sets and darkness settles over the parking lot. Guests have reported seeing dark, human-shaped silhouettes moving slowly across the pavement, disappearing when anyone approaches. These figures are often described as featureless and shadowy, yet their presence is undeniable. Witnesses recount an eerie sensation, as if the figures are aware of being observed, creating a chilling feeling that the motel is home to unseen occupants who only reveal themselves at night. Inside the motel, similar phenomena occur, particularly during late hours when the building is quiet. Visitors often feel sudden drops in temperature as they walk down hallways or enter certain rooms. The cold spots are sometimes accompanied by a tingling sensation on the skin, as if invisible hands or presences are brushing past them. These drops in temperature are localized, appearing in one hallway or room while adjacent areas remain warm, suggesting an inexplicable force at work. Guests consistently describe these moments as unsettling yet fascinating, a tangible reminder that the Route 66 Inn is far from ordinary. Shadowy figures are not confined to the parking lot. Several guests report glimpsing dark silhouettes moving along corridors or disappearing through walls. These apparitions are often seen from the corner of the eye, fleeting and ephemeral, vanishing when directly observed. Some appear to resemble past travelers, dressed in old-fashioned clothing reminiscent of earlier decades along Route 66. Others are vague and shapeless, simply existing as dark forms that move independently of any physical cause. These visual encounters often coincide with other phenomena, such as flickering lights, cold spots, or the sound of footsteps, creating a multisensory experience that leaves a lasting impression. Staff members have frequently experienced the Route 66 Inn's unexplained activity firsthand. Longtime employees report hearing footsteps in hallways and rooms that have been confirmed as empty. Some recount the sensation of being followed by unseen presences, with sounds of movement echoing just behind them. Lights in the lobby or rooms occasionally flicker without cause, and electrical devices have been known to malfunction in unusual ways. Many staff have learned to accept these occurrences as part of the building's character, treating them with a mix of caution and respect while continuing their duties. Their experiences often parallel guest reports, reinforcing the notion that the motel's paranormal activity is both consistent and persistent. Paranormal investigators have visited the Route 66 Inn to document the reported phenomena using a variety of tools, including EMF detectors, audio recorders, and thermal imaging cameras. Audio recordings have captured faint footsteps, murmured whispers, and soft tapping sounds that cannot be explained by ordinary environmental factors. Thermal imaging often reveals cold spots that appear in areas where activity has been reported, particularly hallways and guest rooms. Investigators have also attempted to capture images of the shadowy figures seen by guests, sometimes detecting faint anomalies that appear as dark shapes against the motel's walls or exterior areas. While these findings are not conclusive, they provide compelling support for the reports of paranormal activity that have accumulated over decades. Guest encounters often blend auditory, visual, and physical sensations, creating experiences that feel immediate and real. One visitor described walking to their car late at night and seeing a shadowy figure near the edge of the parking lot, only to have it vanish the moment they approached. Another recounted sitting in their room when the lights began to flicker violently, followed by the sound of soft footsteps pacing the hallway outside. Some report feeling a sudden chill or the sensation of a presence standing nearby, despite the absence of any visible cause. These combined experiences reinforce the idea that the Route 66 Inn is a place where ordinary reality and the supernatural intersect, leaving guests with vivid memories of the unexplained. The history of the Route 66 in May provides some context for its reputation. Operating along the famous highway for decades, the motel has hosted countless travelers, some of whom may have experienced tragedy or unexpected events during their stay. Many theorists suggest that the energy of these past occupants lingers, creating residual hauntings that manifest as shadowy figures, cold spots, and unexplained sounds. Others believe conscious spirits remain attached to the property, interacting with the living in subtle ways that are perceptible to those who pay close attention. Regardless of the origin, the consistency of reports over time indicates that the Route 66 Inn maintains a connection to the unexplained that is difficult to ignore. Despite its haunted reputation, the Route 66 Inn continues to serve travelers, offering both comfort and the possibility of encountering the unknown. Guests are drawn by its location, affordability, and classic Route 66 charm, while others are intrigued by the chance to witness paranormal phenomena firsthand. The combination of ordinary accommodations and extraordinary experiences creates a unique atmosphere where the boundary between reality and the supernatural feels thin. Hallways echo with footsteps that do not belong to anyone. Shadowy figures wander the parking lot, and cold spots appear without explanation, leaving visitors with an indelible impression of the motel's mysterious energy. From flickering lights and sudden chills to shadowy figures in the parking lot and hallways, the Route 66 Inn offers encounters that linger long after a guest departs. Each night, the property seems to awaken, allowing unseen presences to move, watch, and interact with the living in ways that are subtle yet undeniable. For travelers seeking more than just a place to sleep, the Route 66 Inn provides a direct link to the paranormal, offering a hauntingly memorable experience along one of America's most storied highways. The Red Sands Motel in Sedona, Arizona, is an unassuming lodging nestled among the striking red rock formations that make the area famous. To most travelers, it offers a convenient place to stay while exploring the surrounding canyons and desert landscapes. Yet over the years, the Red Sands Motel has developed a reputation far beyond its scenic location and basic amenities. Guests frequently report eerie and unexplained phenomena, from voices calling out from empty rooms to lights switching on and off without explanation. Paranormal investigators have visited the property and captured ghostly apparitions on camera, further cementing its status as one of Sedona's most haunted locations. Many visitors first encounter the motel's unusual energy as they move through the hallways at night. During the day, the property appears calm and ordinary, but after dark, an unsettling atmosphere can settle over the older wings. Guests often hear voices that seem to come from rooms that are completely unoccupied. These disembodied calls are sometimes indistinct murmurs, other times clear enough to form words or phrases, creating the unnerving impression that someone is speaking just beyond reach. The sounds echo through hallways in a way that is difficult to trace, leaving visitors feeling as if they are being observed by unseen presences. Another frequent phenomenon involves the motel's lighting. Guests report lights turning on and off independently, sometimes illuminating rooms or corridors for a brief moment before plunging them back into darkness. These occurrences often coincide with the sounds of voices or other activity, creating an unsettling and immersive experience. Visitors have described walking into a room to find it completely dark, only to have the lights suddenly flicker on, revealing nothing or no one present. Some describe the lights as reacting to their presence, adding an interactive quality to the paranormal activity that heightens the sense of unease. The Red Sands Motel has also become a focus for paranormal investigators, drawn by the consistency and intensity of reports from guests and staff. Equipped with cameras, audio recorders, and other investigative tools, researchers have documented a variety of unexplained phenomena. Some photographs have captured translucent figures or ghostly shapes in hallways and rooms, seemingly hovering or moving independently of any natural cause. Audio recordings occasionally pick up faint whispers or footsteps that cannot be accounted for by guests or staff. Investigators also report experiencing sudden drops in temperature in certain areas, especially in corridors where voices or apparitions have been observed. These findings provide compelling, if not conclusive, evidence that the motel hosts a tangible paranormal presence. Guests often describe their experiences in vivid detail, emphasizing the multisensory nature of encounters. One visitor recounted being in their room when a soft, female voice called their name from the hallway. Upon stepping outside, the corridor was empty, and the voice abruptly ceased. Another guest described lights flickering in a sequence across several rooms while walking through the hallway, accompanied by the sensation that someone or something was following just behind. Others have reported seeing faint, shadowy figures gliding past doorways or lingering at the edge of their vision, disappearing whenever they tried to focus on them. These experiences leave a lasting impression, creating a sense of being part of something larger and unseen. Staff members are no strangers to the motel's paranormal activity. Longtime employees report hearing the same disembodied voices described by guests and witnessing lights flicker in empty rooms. Some have observed shadowy shapes moving across hallways or appearing briefly in doorways. There are even accounts of small objects shifting position on tables or counters without explanation. Staff often approach these occurrences with a mix of curiosity and respect, recognizing that the motel has long been a site of unexplained activity. Their experiences add credibility to guest reports and suggest that the phenomena are both persistent and widespread throughout the property. The origins of the Red Sands Motel's hauntings remain unknown, though theories abound. Some believe that the spirits of former guests or staff members who met untimely deaths on the property and whose energy continues to linger. Others suggest residual energy imprints, the emotional or traumatic echoes of past events recorded in the building itself. Regardless of the cause, the repeated sightings and experiences over decades point to a long-standing presence that continues to manifest in visual, auditory, and tactile ways. Despite its haunted reputation, the Red Sands Motel continues to welcome travelers seeking accommodations in Sedona. Many guests are drawn to the area for its natural beauty, while others are intrigued specifically by the paranormal activity. The combination of ordinary hospitality with extraordinary encounters creates an environment where the boundary between the living and the unseen feels thin. Hallways echo with voices from empty rooms, lights flicker unpredictably, and shadowy figures appear and vanish in corners, making each stay a memorable and often chilling experience. Each night, the property seems to awaken, allowing unseen presences to move freely through the halls and rooms. Visitors often leave with stories that blur the line between reality and the supernatural, carrying with them the impression that the motel is a threshold where the past continues to communicate with the present. For those seeking more than a simple place to rest, the Red Sands Motel provides a haunting and unforgettable experience. A location where ordinary travel accommodations intersect with the mysteries of the unseen world. The Sunset Trails Motel in Mesa, Arizona, has long been a quiet stopover for travelers seeking affordable accommodations along the highways of the East Valley. Its modest exterior and unassuming rooms make it appear like any other roadside motel. Yet over the years, the property has gained a reputation for paranormal activity that draws both curious visitors and devoted ghost hunters. Guests often report a variety of eerie phenomena, including disembodied whispers, objects moving on their own, cold spots, and the unsettling sensation of being touched by unseen hands. The haunting is particularly pronounced at night, when the property's stillness seems to amplify the presence of unseen forces, creating an atmosphere where the ordinary and the supernatural intertwine. Visitors frequently encounter the motel's unusual energy in the hallways and guest rooms after dark. While the building seems calm during the day, the atmosphere changes once the sun sets. Disembodied whispers are among the most commonly reported phenomena. Guests often describe hearing quiet voices calling their names, murmuring incomprehensible words, or engaging in conversation that seems to come from empty rooms. These sounds echo through the corridors, sometimes traveling from one end of the property to the other, leaving visitors with the unnerving impression that the motel is alive with invisible occupants. Many guests report freezing in place as they listen, unsure whether to investigate or retreat to the safety of their rooms. Another recurring phenomenon involves objects moving inexplicably. Guests have reported chairs sliding across floors, personal belongings being displaced, and doors opening or closing without cause. In some cases, objects appear to have been deliberately moved, as if someone or something is interacting with the environment. These movements are often subtle, like a chair nudged slightly from its usual spot or a towel shifted on a bed, but the effect is deeply unsettling, reinforcing the sense that unseen presences are actively inhabiting the property. Guests who witness these occurrences frequently describe a mixture of fear, fascination, and curiosity. Cold spots are another hallmark of the Sunset Trails, motels, paranormal activity. Visitors often notice sudden drops in temperature in hallways or specific rooms, sometimes accompanied by an eerie stillness in the air. These cold spots seem localized and can appear without warning, creating a stark contrast with the otherwise warm desert nights. Guests describe feeling chills that run along their spines, sometimes noticing their breath fogging in areas where the temperature feels unusually low. Many connect these cold spots with other phenomena, such as the whispers, moving objects, or the sensation of being touched, adding to the immersive and unsettling experience. Perhaps the most unsettling reports involve the sensation of unseen hands brushing against guests while they sleep. Several visitors recount waking in the middle of the night with a distinct feeling that something or someone has touched their arms, shoulders, or back. These touches are usually light but unmistakable, creating a tangible sense of presence, even in the absence of any visual confirmation. The experiences are often accompanied by other phenomena, such as the feeling of pressure on the bed, subtle movements of blankets, or faint whispers in the room. Guests consistently describe these encounters as disconcerting, leaving them wide awake and hyper-aware of their surroundings until morning. Staff members have also reported experiencing paranormal activity at the Sunset Trails Motel. Longtime employees recount hearing footsteps in empty hallways, doors opening or closing on their own, and objects shifting positions without explanation. Some describe seeing fleeting shadows in corridors or glimpsing movement from the corner of their eyes, only for it to vanish when they turn to look directly. Many staff treat these experiences with cautious acceptance, understanding that the motel has a history of unusual occurrences while continuing to carry out their daily tasks. Their accounts closely mirror guest reports, reinforcing the consistency of the reported phenomena and suggesting a persistent presence throughout the property. Paranormal investigators have been drawn to the Sunset Trails Motel due to the frequency and intensity of these reports. Using EMF detectors, audio recorders, and thermal imaging cameras, they have documented unexplained activity that appears to corroborate witness accounts. Audio devices sometimes capture faint whispers, footsteps, or murmuring in empty rooms, while thermal imaging can reveal sudden cold spots that correspond with areas of reported activity. Photographs occasionally show anomalies, such as shadowy shapes or light distortions, which appear to be consistent with the descriptions provided by guests and staff. While these findings cannot definitively explain the hauntings, they provide intriguing evidence that something beyond the ordinary may be at work. Guest encounters often combine multiple sensory experiences, making the haunting feel vivid and immersive. One visitor described waking to a cold breeze and the sensation of someone brushing their shoulder, followed by a faint whisper that seemed to come from the corner of the room. Another recounted observing a chair in their room move slightly while they were asleep, accompanied by the sudden illumination of a nearby lamp that had been switched off. Many guests leave the motel with a strong impression that the building is inhabited by forces that are unseen but undeniably present, creating memories that linger long after they check out. The history of the Sunset Trails Motel may offer insight into its paranormal activity. Operating for decades as a roadside lodging, the motel has hosted countless travelers, many of whom may have left emotional or energetic imprints on the building. Some theorists suggest that these imprints manifest as residual hauntings, while others believe conscious spirits continue to interact with the living in subtle ways. Regardless of the origin, the reported phenomena have persisted over time, reinforcing the idea that the motel is a focal point for unexplained activity. Despite its reputation for hauntings, the Sunset Trails Motel remains a functioning accommodation for travelers. Guests are drawn by its convenient location, affordability, and access to local attractions. While some seek the added thrill of paranormal encounters, the combination of everyday hospitality with extraordinary phenomena creates an environment where the line between reality and the supernatural feels thin. Hallways echo with whispers, objects move without explanation, cold spots appear, and unseen hands brush against sleeping guests, ensuring that every visit is memorable and deeply atmospheric. From disembodied whispers and moving objects to chilling cold spots and the sensation of unseen touches, the Sunset Trails Motel offers encounters that leave a lasting impression. Each night, the property seems to awaken, hosting presences that are subtle yet undeniable, creating a haunting experience for those who enter. For travelers seeking more than just a place to rest, the Sunset Trails Motel provides a direct connection to the unknown, a location where the ordinary becomes extraordinary and the mysterious lingers in every shadowed corner. Arizona's haunted motels offer more than a place to sleep. They provide a window into the state's mysterious and spectral history. From Route 66 classics to desert hideaways, each motel carries its own stories of restless spirits and unexplained phenomena. Whether you are a paranormal investigator, a history enthusiast, or simply someone drawn to the unknown, these 25 motels stand as chilling reminders that the past never truly leaves. The ghosts of Arizona's motels continue to linger, whispering stories, moving objects, and creating experiences that blur the line between the living and the dead. Visiting these haunted locations allows us to step into a world where history, mystery, and the supernatural converge, making each stay an unforgettable encounter with the unseen.